Yeah, God bless. Amazing day for me, meeting one of my heroes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to be sorely disappointed if you've got me as one of your heroes.
Well, I owe you a lot because I discovered flat Earth because of you. I discovered a long list of things such as history, urine therapy. Let me think of that. Well, the Bedini one, the common law stuff, all of this. And the first video I watched of yours was the flat Earth one. So that was, you know.
Well, what you've been actually watching was basically my journey for the last 16 years or so. Just finding stuff and going, oh well, look at that,
Exactly. But I mean, it's a gift for everyone else as well. That's the beautiful thing.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just Dave from Basildon. I don't know anything about the heroes,
No, what are you talking about? You are one of the heroes. That's the amazing thing.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, I just saw. Oh, here he is. Sorry, I didn't even click on it. He's in the waiting room.
Leave him out in the waiting room. We don't need him.
Yeah. Now there's two. There's two of them by accident, and there should be a couple more people jumping in as well. Yeah, we're going to take it, kind of just see how it goes. But we've been very blessed to have just an amazing person with us today. Three Wise Men podcast. What we've named it, kind of something we just started.
Well, should I not be worshipping you then?
No. Just everyone's a star. Everyone's a star. Yo, man.
Hiya.
Camera setups. The globe's in the background, but
yeah, what the hell? What is that thing?
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Some blue thing. What is that?
It's on the television though. Because it's on the television.
Oh yeah, I can ignore it.
I'm pretty sure Stone. I haven't actually asked him directly, but I'm pretty sure Stoney's a flat earther.
I don't know. He's gonna have to get rid of that background pretty damn quick.
Can you hear us? Oh wait. Technological issues. So what kind of thing would you like to speak about today? Is there any general, I was wondering if there was anything, that you've been looking at recently or
Not really. So, because I guess COVID has overshadowed everything. So, but the last thing I was looking at before that was, human history in the Bible, which plays into COVID quite nicely because it's all in there.
Beautiful. Okay, all right. So we can get into some of this stuff. I think another member of the brigade is joining. Stoney, can you hear us?
Hello. Hello. Bam, I'm in there.
We've got two versions of you.
I know I can't. How do I hang one up? This one.
Apologies for this, Dave.
It's all right. Get yourself sorted. It's fine.
We're new to this. Hey, God bless.
God bless.
Here.
Yes.
Who's the cool dude in the bottom there?
Is it cool? Who's that? Is that Darius? Is Darius here? I can only see. I can see Dave. Hey, Dave, how you doing? I'm Santana. I'm Mr. Can You Dig It?
Microphone.
Looking pretty smooth over there, though.
Thank you. Listen, brother, I actually dressed up because of you.
Not for me. Hang on, let me go and put a suit on, yeah?
I ain't wore pants. I don't usually wear pants. I wore pants for you, brother.
All right. So what? Your usual show, you wear underpants, do you? And
Yep. I sure do.
Superman
I
shorts.
sure do. I
Yeah.
can't hear that, man. You know what I mean? I didn't wear shoes, right? Because I just met you.
I'm
Because we just
honored.
meet you.
I'm
But
honored.
next time, I'll put some shoes on.
Yeah,
So I have a question for you, brother.
Mhm.
Quick question for you before we start the interview. You a fan of the Super Friends?
Okay.
Super Friends.
Yeah.
I'm in there.
Justice League,
I'm in there.
I've never heard of Super Friends.
The Justice League, Superman, Batman, and Aquaman is,
I'm a Marvel Comics guy myself, so yeah.
Okay. Well, never mind then.
Avengers.
Never mind.
Yeah, button that,
Me
button
too.
that shit up. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Never mind then.
Get the Spider-Man one out.
I was gonna. I'm gonna fix my curtain.
Peace.
Yo,
I finally got in, fellas. I finally got in. I can hear. Can you guys hear me?
yeah, here you
Yes,
good, man.
yes.
Gotcha.
We hear you, brother. We can hear you.
Bless.
Okay.
Where's our pretty dude at? Where's the?
Oh,
where's
here
our
he
pretty
is.
dude
Here he
at?
is. Here he is. He's here as well.
What's he
All
doing?
right.
Yes, come on. Beautiful. So this is like the Avengers assembly. I'm very happy to have another person representing from England. Come on.
Can you dig it?
That's fun.
Yeah.
So
Hey,
this is our first official guest.
Before
Go
we
ahead, Tony.
start, I just wanted to tell Adriano, I remember our friend from Face. That was one of my first videos as well. The gentleman who are right here by the face, I saw him and he was so articulate. He was from the UK. He broke it down. It is this gentleman right here. I don't know where I saw it, but it was the beginning. It was the beginning of me asking my question. And I just remember it. And I did, it makes sense now. It makes sense. I just wanted to put that addendum when we were talking about boom, 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 who, what, where.
Santana said the same thing to me as well.
Yeah, I was in Holland and I was watching an interview of people mocking him. And I was saying to myself, man, I wish I was there because I will punch them in the face for him. Right? Because he was, I'm not gonna get into a story. I want him to get into it here because I really want a good conversation. But I just remember them trying to mock him. And I was saying to myself, man, he's the Green Lantern, by the way. I mean, if he wasn't such a Marvel fan, I was thinking he was the Green Lantern because he done shot down my dreams. But a compelling story, and it's a common thread between everybody who we discussed on this podcast, on this experiments. And Brother Dave, we're calling this the Post Matrix podcast. Because we know everything is broken down, and basically we're trying to normalize our discussions of what our lives and who we used to be, and we're trying to normalize it in the most human way, in the most honest way, where we're exposing ourselves and we're being vulnerable because we want people to understand that what was done is over, and we need to talk about this in the past tense. And, let people not feel ashamed of the role that they played in all the madness, because all of us took place in it in some part. So we want people to understand that, yes, that was madness. We're breaking away from it. And there's no harm in anything you did. We just want to get us on the same frequency. And that's kind of what we're trying to do. And we're trying to, we're actually resolving problems and finding solutions. We find that these podcasts just kind of are big fights. At the end of the day, they just leave things wide open. And if you leave things wide open and unresolved, you're not going to have any type of conclusion. You just get a infinite fight. It's just going to continue fighting. And that's what I see when I see these discussions. Whereas discussions that we have, we try to, there is no fighting because it's your story. So we get to hear your story and we get to hear from different angles and with our different perspectives. geographically and age-wise and ass-whip-wise. We done got our ass whipped in different versions. And so we just find it's a much richer dialogue and a much richer recourse when we can share the perspective with different perspectives. And your perspective, you have no idea, influenced me very, very heavily. And actually, when I saw you, you made me publicly tell people, hey, when I saw you, I stopped, hiding it, that it's, I started coming right out. Like I read an article and it took me 20 minutes to convert to flat earth. That's it.
Wow.
And then when I saw yours and I saw you public about it, I'm like, man, I'm telling everybody. So you inspired myself, Stoney, Adrian. That's pretty impressive, because we are impressive. You're gonna see,
Gosh, well, the difficulty for me is that I don't get an awful lot of feedback, to be honest. I put videos out there and I'm not like asking for people to subscribe or like or share or any of that stuff. I just put them out there, and hopefully they'll help somebody. And obviously you get sort of a few comments, but I don't get an awful lot of feedback on them. So I don't know that they're actually getting out there or anyone's taking any notice of them, until every now and again somebody says, your videos really helped me. And I'm like, oh, great,
I mean,
but
really
I don't really know.
And your book as well. I read the book, and that was life changing. I'm just kind of like in full fanboy mode. God bless you, Dave.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, for real, the book was not only life changing, but it was fun to read. It was fun to read. It was good. So yeah, like it's a lot of power being given to the people by yourself.
Oh, I'm actually writing another book, but I'm finding it really hard to find time to sit and write, and that's a problem. But my next book is essentially the real story of the Old Testament, because when I did my first flat Earth video, I called it The Biggest Lie of All. And while I was researching that video, or doing that video, I found an even bigger lie underneath, and that was this even bigger lie than the flat Earth. The bigger lie is the story of the Old Testament and who those characters are today.
Enki and Enlil.
No. Kind of a little bit. Enki and Enlil and all those are in the Old Testament, but they're only in the Old Testament with one line. There's only one line in the Old Testament talking about them. You have to jump into the Book of Enoch, and the Book of Enoch tells you all about those characters.
Right.
But what happened was, after the Tower of Babel, everybody sort of spread out with the same stories of the same gods, but they changed their names and changed the stories a little bit, but they're all the same characters.
Same character.
And different cultures. Same
character. Listen, Jesus is Jesus.
In remote pockets of the world.
Same thing. Same character. But here's something interesting. There's a book out called The Bible Code. It's written by a gentleman by the name of I believe Michael Dresden. I've read it when I was Darian's age, and essentially this man has this book, and he said that all of humanity was created by a supercomputer, and God is nothing more than a computer. Now, when you talk about the Tower of Babel, and then when man was supposed to get to heaven to take over heaven and replace God, God said, let them do what they can imagine, basically, essentially saying, go ahead and try it. And he confounded the languages to make everybody speak a different language. And it's like, man, that's like a damn computer program upload, based on what we're talking about today. But yes, brother, please expound on this, because man, I love this conversation already.
All right. Well, it turns out that the book says that we all spoke one language,
Right.
before the Tower of Babel. Everyone spoke the one language. So that language was the language that the Most High spoke to Adam with. And that language is what's known, it's actually known in the book of Jasher as the language of creation, because it's the same language that the Most High created all of this with. Yeah, because we live in a thought universe. This universe is made of thought. Okay, and we are simply let's say intelligent agents. So we're a conscious point of awareness. Okay, given free will. That's it. Just like if we go to the computer model, you can create these things called intelligent agents. Yeah, so a little bit of software, and you tell it to go out and find whatever. Yeah, and then teach itself how to find, be better, and it will go out and it will learn, and it will it will retrieve any references to whatever it's looking for. An intelligent agent, and that's what we're in. We're sort of points of conscious awareness in an infinite mind. Okay. Another analogy would be if you imagine Charles Dickens. Charles Dickens will sit down and he'll imagine a place. Okay, so 19th century London.
Dave, I want to interrupt you for 10 seconds. I'm from Baltimore. Our education is the worst in America. So not everybody's going to know who the damn Charles Dickens is.
Okay. Okay, Stephen King. Okay.
Right.
No, still no.
Oh,
still
good grief.
I'm sorry. I am so sorry. Hey, brother,
somebody help me out. Give me an author that everyone knows.
Mike Tyson wrote a book. Mike Tyson wrote a book, you know?
Hey,
okay.
Judy Blume. Judy Blume.
Who's that? Okay, there you go. There you go. Maybe that looks good. Yeah, there you go.
That was that first grade book that everybody had.
But not in England, no.
No.
Look, let's go back. Okay.
A well-known author.
George Orwell. What about George Orwell?
Yeah, George.
Oh,
84.
1984. Why don't you say Jack Cousteau?
Look, okay, I'm gonna. You know what? I'm gonna go back to Charles Dickens. Charles Dickens, by the way, is a writer.
Yeah.
And he wrote Oliver Twist.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody knows that. It's like a Christmas Carol or something.
Christmas Carol. Okay, so Charles Dickens, when he sits down to write, he imagines a place. Okay, so 19th century London, it's all foggy and there's horses and carts and all that. He imagines this place. He populates that place with people, right? And there are people who have a role, right? Like Charles Dickens and not Charles Dickens, like Oliver Twist and all the other characters. And there are non-player characters that's there to fill in the scene, yeah? And the real characters, he gives them a backstory and then says, okay, you've got free will, off you go, what are you going to do? And then he just writes down what they do. Okay, that's his story. So it's the same with the Most High. He's imagined a place, this place, and imagined people in that place and given them free will and said, off you go. And there's a good reason why he did that. And that's probably a bit for later, but
interesting.
But that's where we are. We're in a thought-based universe, and we know that's true, because okay, imagine you wanted to buy a car, okay, and you decided you wanted to buy a red Corvette. So what's the first thing that's going to happen?
I want to think about a red Corvette.
You're going to start seeing cars.
You're going to start seeing red Corvettes everywhere, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, but it turns out it's not because you're attuned to red Corvettes now, and when you see one, you're going to notice it. No, what happens in actual reality is that statistically, more red Corvettes are going to appear in front of you. Because That's
It
fine.
definitely
We are
works.
manifesting it.
Yep.
Sorry?
You're saying we're manifesting it, is what you're saying. We're drawing it to us, is what you're saying.
Absolutely. And they've done experiments to show that that's absolutely the case in this world. That
Right.
Man,
they
you know
had.
what, brother?
Mhm.
I don't usually trust black men, but your accent makes you very believable.
Yes, we.
I'm
yes.
going to trust.
We're good at
I'm
that.
going to believe this one. You know what, man? Hey, Stoney. You know what? I think I'm going to trust this guy.
I want to hear more. I want to hear more for sure.
Please, brother. Listen, I'm the class clown, so if you haven't figured out my role, I'm the class clown. So
Yeah, I think I'll figure that one out. Yeah. Yeah, so they did experiments with random number generators. So a random number generator will produce a whole series of ones and zeros. Okay. So if they just let it run, say to do 10,000 numbers, when they tally it up, it's going to be 5,000 ones, 5,000 zeros. Yeah.
Right.
So literally, they got a random number generator to run a series, and they got an experienced meditator to sit and meditate on this number generator to make more ones and zeros, and the result was more ones and zeros, significantly more ones and zeros. Okay. They've even tried it.
Did it know that it was being observed?
Well, they literally ran the series. So the computer's there, it's running this series, and the guy's sitting in front of it, and he's going, okay, I want more ones and zeros. He's meditating on that. Okay.
No. Because you know the light study, and that's why I was asking. So clearly, it knew it was being, right. So clearly, it knew it was being observed. No, I think this.
Yes.
This is mind blowing, because I wanted to know if it knew it was being observed, for it to still act in that manner, knowing it was being observed. It seemed like that would be something it would do when it didn't think it was being observed. So continue on. Fantastic.
So they've even done it where they've run a series without anyone there, okay, sealed the results in an envelope, and got a meditator 10 years later or some long period later to meditate on having more zeros and ones. So he did that. They opened up the envelope, checked it out, and it was more zeros and ones, significantly more zeros and ones. So again, it's not bound in time, but you're right. If the when it's sealed in the envelope, it's in an indeterminate state until it's opened. And if it's open normally, the indeterminate state sort of resolves down to 50% ones and 50% zeros. But if it's affected by somebody, then it's going to be different. So we live in a thought-based universe, and we are just a conscious awareness of the little point of conscious awareness in that sea of thought. And it feels real because everything around us is thought-based, just like our bodies are, so this is where we are.
I feel like that. I just feel like the fact that either that we've got free will, or the fact that we've even been given this illusion of free will, though, that's got to mean something.
Yes.
Well, do you want to know what it means?
Yes, I do. That's what I was.
Well, it really should be the end of the show when I reveal this, but so I'll reveal it and we'll end it there. Yeah, shall we?
Well, wait, I'll tell you what. Can I ask you a question before the big reveal? Can I ask you a question before you reveal?
Sure, absolutely.
How did you come upon this knowledge? Did this knowledge come to you? Did you seek it? How did you retrieve this information? That this is the first time I'm hearing some of these things, and I hear some crazy things.
It's, it's a question of seeking it. If you ask a question, somebody told me this, if you ask a question, it creates a vacuum in the universe.
It does.
And that vacuum has to be filled. Yeah.
He's right.
So you just keep asking questions. You keep plugging away at a particular subject. The answers will come to you. I've had it where I've asked a question and I'm thinking, I've been focusing on this question like crazy, and then somebody walked past me and give me the answer. It's not, you know, he'll be mumbling it to himself, and it's like, what did he say?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
can I explain how that happens and why that happens?
Go ahead.
Because when the creator talks to us, the way the creator talks to us, sometimes the creator has to deliver you the message. You don't always get the message. For example, you listen to How Can You Heal a Broken Heart, and you listen to Here Comes the Sun. The Beatles version and Nina Simone's version, listen to it, there's a slight difference in it. And the Beatles got the song first, but they didn't get the entire message. And Nina Simone found the entire message in the song Here Comes the Sun. As the saying, how can you heal a broken heart? The Bee Gees sung the song. They wrote it originally, but they didn't get the message. So Al Green redid it. So when you don't get all the message that you need, God sends somebody else to give you the rest of the message to put you the rest of the way on frequency. So that's what happened.
Or you haven't asked the right question.
Dig it, man. Listen, man. I gotta tell you, man. Can we be friends, man? Because
I thought we already were.
I like you. And man, please continue on. Listen, please continue on. You're just blowing our mind over here.
Right.
Well, there's a book that was taken out of the Old Testament. It's called Second Esdras. Okay, it's actually the fourth book of Ezra, and it's in the what's known as the Apocrypha. The word Apocrypha means hidden. Doesn't mean not real or not inspired. It just means hidden. Okay, so in this book, Second Esdras, it says it basically tells you the whole point of life and what happens after we die. Okay, so the best way I can describe the whole point of life is, imagine you're in a room with 100 people, and 25 of those people are psychopaths. Okay,
normal life. Let's call Baltimore.
Yeah. Pretty much normal life. Yeah. Except the psychopath ratio is a bit higher. Anyway, so how can you tell who the psychopaths are? Because you can't look at them and go, oh yeah, he's a psychopath. No, because
you can.
Well,
by their actions.
Yes, you can
check their footwork when they start dropping bodies.
Well, you know, you're just looking at these people. You're just a whole bunch of people, so you can't really tell until they you know, they reveal themselves. But they're very clever, so they're very they're very sort of cagey about revealing themselves. So,
but you can. I understand what you're saying. I follow you. But I know, I'm not saying everyone, I'm saying that you can. You're not hiding from me, friend.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so you might come up with a questionnaire, but question 1 can't be, are you a psychopath? Question 2 can't be, do you like killing small animals? Because the psychopath knows exactly what you want to hear. So they'll go like, no, yeah. So you've got to come up with questions that don't have a right or wrong answer. Yeah, open-ended questions. Okay, so the psychopath doesn't know what you want to hear, so they're forced to be themselves, and then you can figure out who they are from their answers. So scale that up to the level of the Most High. Wickedness is found in his realm. So how does he know who's the wicked and who's not? Well, he already knows who's wicked and who's not. But if you know the character of the Most High from the Old Testament, he doesn't just tell you you're wicked. He'll let you go ahead in your wickedness and do as much as you like, and then show you you're wicked. Yeah. So what he might do, he might create a realm where anything is possible. This is where we are. Any experience you want to have, you can have it here. Right? But he incarnates us down here with no memory of who or what we are, but he places the 10 commandments right here, so everyone knows what's right and what's wrong. Right? Even the psychopaths know what's right and what's wrong. They just don't care. Yeah, but everyone has it right there. Okay, and then you're born here, and it's like, it's the start of the question. How are you going to live your life? Off you go. Okay.
And that's Vitruvius. Vitruvius, Vitruvius was the mighty architect that Da Vinci was inspired by, and it's the 10 columns. So you're saying the 10 commandments, Vitruvius was inspired by that, brother. Please continue to go on.
Okay.
Please continue to go on.
Right. So that's the game. That's literally the game we're playing. In Second Ezra, it's the angel who explains this to Ezra, says it's a contest. We're in a contest against ourselves. Okay. And the game is, do you walk the wicked path or do you walk the righteous path? Now, we live in a society which is utterly wicked. You know, and it's all about showing you, you know what, wickedness is great. Wickedness is cool. You know, you'll get away with it. Just be wicked. It's fine. Everyone's being wicked. So you be wicked. It's okay. You know, you turn on the television. That's all that's pouring out of that thing. Total wickedness. You know, if you turn that TV on, within 10 minutes, you'll see half a dozen murders. You'll see theft, lying, all the commandments being broken and everybody getting away with it, you know?
Yeah.
So essentially, if you do nothing, if you just go along with this system, as a friend of mine once said, better make a choice because the devil owns the fence. Yeah. If you go along with this system, you've made your choice. Okay. Because you know, it's like if you're standing there and you see somebody being beaten to death right in front of you and you do nothing, well, you're an accomplice now, right?
100%.
Right.
The word neutral to me is a disgusting, filthy word. If you can't stand up to say something's right or wrong, just don't say neutral to me. Just say you're scared. Continue on. I have I think I'm self-diagnosing myself with Black Tourette's. So you have to forgive me, brother.
So that's it. The you know, you've literally got to make a stand. Otherwise, you're actually choosing wickedness, and that path of wickedness is a nice, wide, comfortable path. And you know what? If you do nothing, you'll just flow down that path nice and easily. Right? The righteous path is a lot narrower, and if you start walking it, people are going to start laughing at you. Your friends are going to leave you. Your wife might even leave you. You know, people are going to be pointing and laughing and want to kick you while you're down and everything. It's a hard road, but it's a right road. And when you're on it, you know it. Right now, I think you get an opportunity. You know, if you're sort of just flowing down that wicked path, I think every man, woman, and child gets an opportunity. I think for a man, it's around about the age of 40 when you stop and you go, am I doing the right thing? What is this all about? Why am I here? You know, and you get this moment that you've got the opportunity to jump across to the righteous path. But if you listen to what the system says, it basically suggests you go screw your secretary and get a flash car and you know, it will be over and you can carry on down the wicked path.
That's why you always have to, that's why I always recommend as a professional, make sure when you get a secretary, make sure she's very, very qualified, make sure she's smart, and make sure she's ugly. So you don't got to worry about that, you know?
Exactly. Exactly. But yeah, I think that
my secretary was beautiful. My secretary was beautiful though. I'm just talking about y'all, other people.
Okay. Come and work now. I'm gonna come and work for you, yeah. Yeah, I think that's it. But if you get, you know, every moment of every day, every single moment of every single day, you get a choice which path you're gonna go on. Yeah, every decision you make. My son used to play this Star Wars video game, and it started off as you know, a little kid with a lightsaber, and as he goes through the game, he has to make decisions, and depending on the decisions my son would make, that little kid would either turn into a Dark Lord or a Jedi.
Oh, okay.
And that's the game we're playing. You know, are you going to end up in the end of your life as a Dark Lord, or is it going to be a Jedi? And you have to know that when you get to the end, you're going to be scored at the end. And that's why I'm not afraid of anything in this life. not afraid of anything. Yeah, I'm afraid of ending this life and having to stand in front of the Most High and have Him, make an account of my life in front of the Most High, and that's the only thing that terrifies me.
So can I add on to that, brother?
Hmm?
So you know how I know you get a lot of your information from spirit, and everybody on this experiment here, we talk to spirit a lot. And we talk to the spirit because we watch nature and we observe nature. And something that you don't hear about observing nature the way we used to when we were kids. When we were kids, we used to question the simple things like just the nature of our shadow. And don't forget, that's a magical, whatever you want to call a shadow, it's a magical incarnation to this realm that we're on. And anything on here has a duality. Everything is, nothing's bad, everything's good, everything's bad, both the same as good as bad. So people stopped asking the question about the shadow. So just like you said, I went to the source and asked them, what is the shadow? I remember I used to play with this thing when I was a child. What is the purpose of it? So then I looked, I started watching Nights of Arabia, some type of video in the sand. And I saw how the trees and the camel shadows protect these people during the daytime. And it gave them shelter and gave them shade. And that was the positive aspect of what this thing that we call a shadow is.
Yeah.
But the other side of the shadow is what you're talking about. Once we flick over to the other side, we have to watch that shadow because that shadow is a recording strip. It's a movie reel. Once we switch over, our shadow is your movie reel. People forget and stop asking these questions. That is a recording strip. So everything that you ever did that you thought that you got away with, you are going to watch that recording strip and you get to see it through the eyes of the people who you affected, either good or bad. So when you're thinking that you got away with something, your shadow is here to protect you, and it's going to tell on you. It's going to cover you and give you shade, but it's also going to tell on you, the duality. So I hope that kind of filled in some weird spots that some folks might be talking about or thinking about, or maybe I'm just the crazy one.
No, that was powerful.
I was actually going to say that what you just described is essentially final judgment, because
good, because I just thought I was sounding crazy over here. No. Thank y'all for saying that.
No, you're crazy about the shadow bit, but essentially, right, you are recording every single moment of every single moment of your life. You're recording everything in your universe. Your universe is that bubble around you that you perceive. So the room you're in, if there's windows in the room, the outside that you can see, right, you're perceiving. Everything that you're perceiving is your universe, and you're recording absolutely everything in that universe. So if you're sitting in front of somebody and you've just hurt them, as you say, right, you're not only recording exactly how you're thinking and feeling, you're also recording what they're thinking and feeling as well.
It's also creating as well at the same time.
Yes, sir.
Rippling out, creating.
Yep.
It's the whole thing as well. It pops up, linking it back to what we were saying earlier. With the whole kind of the world is mental, and it's just the power of the mind is always kind of creating the universe that we live in. Is the other aspect of it. On one side you've got the recording aspect, but on the other side it's creation.
Right.
Yeah, true. But as I said, the recording is the important thing, because when you watch a film, when you're watching a film, you're watching two stories unfold. Okay, the main story is the plot line of the film. Yeah, so in this world it's coronavirus, new world order, chemtrails, all this stuff. Yeah, that's the plot line of the film. Okay, the most important story is the hero's journey through that plot line. Okay, so in this world, it's your story that's the important one. Yeah, how are you navigating through this world? That's the important story that's being recorded. Okay.
I hear you.
Right.
So it's like you're the creation manifestation is, in a sense, it's chicken egg, right? Because what you're creating is ultimately what's being recorded, and that's what is yeah, that's what we're going to be judged on. Sorry, I can't get
because you're creating it and recording it because you're creating it. It's what you want. It's your character expressing itself.
I don't want this man. I don't want this man. Is it being? Are you sure I want this? Is it being recorded through your lens?
Yes.
It's being recorded through your lens and your perspective.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, your universe is your lens and perspective.
Right.
Because there's only one person who has ever lived, will ever live, is living, that will ever have your particular perspective, because it's only you who can see through your eyes. Yeah. So essentially you're in your own universe, recording it and creating it as you go.
See, sometimes I get the feeling that it's already been recorded and I'm kind of in autopilot, but the events are very much almost like deja vu. It's, it's a weird feeling.
Well, here's the thing. It is already been recorded, but it's being recorded as well, because time doesn't exist. There is no such thing as time. Time is perspective that we have, okay? The whole of reality has already been written, okay? We are choosing to experience it one moment at a time from one particular perspective, okay? But it's already been written. Your subconscious has access to the whole story from beginning to end. It's been proved that we already know at least 6 seconds before anything happens, we already know what's going to happen. That's, again, an experiment that's been done that proves that it's true. We already know what's coming. But consciously, we don't. We're consciously choosing to play this game as if we don't know.
Well, I think it gets interesting from a computational standpoint, because if you think about any type of predictive modeling, it gets increasingly more difficult as you scale out. So as maybe, okay, within the first 5 seconds, we don't have too many variables to predict, but as we scale out over 5 days, 100 days, 100 years, well, now there's an infinite amount of variables that we can include in our model. So there's things left on the table in that sense.
I totally agree, because, okay, I had an experience with a recreational plant, and yeah. So whenever I come into contact with this plant, which I don't do it anymore, and
me neither.
Yeah,
me neither. I know what you mean, man. I'm the same way. Same way. Go ahead, brother.
Right. When I used to sort of have take it. I used to eat it, actually. I wouldn't smoke it. I think that's a wrong approach. I used to eat it, and it would actually take me on what I call a cannabis journey.
Yeah.
Okay.
Indeed.
So it would teach me stuff, and I'd have to kind of meditate on what it taught me for about 3 or 4 days, but I'd always come out of it with something profound.
How much did you have to eat? Now that I'm going to do it, because I don't do drugs.
Not as much as you'd have to smoke, because for some reason when you eat it, it's a different effect, and it is more psychedelic. And they definitely does take you on a journey. I think in a sense, a lot of there's many methods, and they're all going in the same direction. They all take us to a similar place, basically.
It also ties into when I was saying about the language that we used to speak. The language we used to speak was a language of pictures. Okay. And the weirdness of a trip is literally you thinking in pictures again instead of thinking in language. Okay.
Well, I'm going to disagree, because there's all kinds of weird stuff from trips.
But as I said, most of it comes from this transition away from thinking in language, in words and things, into thinking in pictures, which we're not used to doing. We can't do that because we're locked in our left brain at the moment.
And not to cut you off, brother, and see, man, you're blowing my mind. I thought it was just telepathy. I thought that the confounding of the language was telepathy, because I know you can read things now.
You can, and to our minds, you know, because we've got a weird view of what telepathy is. You know, we're thinking, you know, Professor Xavier who goes, yeah, I can hear what you're saying. You know, no, it's not that. You know, it's.
Are you sure? Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure, because one of my cannabis journeys, actually the very first one, told me what telepathy was all about. But I was talking about the cannabis journeys for a reason. It was one of the last ones I did was telling me the nature of time, and what I experienced was that I was at a point, and spreading off from that point like a tree were all these possible futures, and behind me were all these possible pasts. Yeah. And I went through this process where I could choose which future I wanted to have, and I could sample each one. And as you were saying, sorry, I don't know your name down at the bottom there.
Oh, they call me Can You Dig It?
No, no.
My mother
down there.
Oh, Darian.
Sorry,
Darian.
Darian.
Oh, we call him the smart aleck. Smart aleck, we call him.
Okay.
He think he know everything. He think he know everything. You gonna see though.
Know everything and know nothing.
Yeah. So just like you were saying, what I experienced was I could sample a possible future, and as it went on, it just fizzled out, because you know it got less and less distinct, and then but I got a taste of what that future held. So just to tell a little story, I was working on a free energy device with a whole load of people, and we were going to knock off at like 6 o'clock. And I got talking to some of the girls that were around, and they said, "Oh, we're really gonna have some of this recreational plant later on up on the hill." So before we finished, I thought, well, when I take some cannabis oil, it usually takes about an hour to kick in. So I think, well, if I take it now, by the time we're finished, I'll go up the hill and I'll be ready to start going. Right. So I took it, and then the engineers on the project said, "Oh, we're getting really close. Let's just carry on." I thought, okay, hopefully we're going to finish soon. So we're working away, and then it started kicking in, and I experienced a time loop. I experienced the same thing happening over and over and over again. It was a sequence where one of the guys switched on this machine. It was started spinning quite fast, and one of the engineers went faster, faster, like that. The guys turned it up faster than it ever went before, and the thing started to glow, and all this energy came off of it, and then it exploded, and everybody died. And then it reset, and I was not where I was before. I was a little to the left. And then the whole sequence happened again. The thing exploded. Most people died, and I was sort of almost mortally wounded. Right. So then it reset again, and I was sort of a little to the right now, and whole thing started. Most people died. I was badly injured, and I was seeing this thing like just repeating. Eventually it got too much for me, and I had to get out of the room. So I went into the next room, and there were all these people waiting to hear what was going on in the other room, and they were asking me questions, and all I could go was so literally I sat down, and the cannabis said to me, "You're afraid of death, aren't you?" I said, "No, I'm not." He said, "Well, choose the explosion then." I was like, okay. So I went back into the room, and the sequence started again. And so I was trying to tough it out to the explosion, and this little child came in and stood in front of me, And the cannabis said, what about now? This child's going to die. I said, well, I think everyone in the room's going to die. So fair enough. So my girlfriend came in, stood right in front of me and said, what about now? Because now she's going to die. I was like, oh, okay. I said, well, we're going to die together. So it's okay.
Oh, wow.
So then this guy came in, right? This guy was like this blonde Tarzan type guy. Yeah. So he came in and stood next to us. And I got this sense that, okay, the explosion is going to happen. I'm going to be badly injured, like in a wheelchair or something. My girlfriend's going to end up with Tarzan. Like, it was like, what about now? I was thinking, okay. And eventually I said, no more. And then I got to choose. I said, it was, but the cannabis said, okay, which future do you want? And I got to test all these futures. And one of them was that the free energy device worked. And it was the turning point of humanity. This very simple free energy device worked in public. It was released to the world, and the world changed. And there was like all these cameras clicking and everyone, you know, high-fiving and everything. And like the guy who was doing the documentary type thing, he was showing, you know, he's panning around and showing everybody going, yes, we've done it. And he got to me and I'm all fucked up in the corner, go, I don't want that one. I don't want that future. So I chose one.
Send us the clip just so we can verify the accuracy of it, because we're not going to laugh at it, but just so we can just make sure you was there, because we wouldn't laugh at it. We are mature over here.
Well, there isn't. That was the experience I had, right, of the future, but that didn't happen. But if you go onto my channel, there's a very small video called Allegedly Brave, okay, where they're testing the machine, right, and all of a sudden it sparks and I jump out of my skull because I'm still got in my head the thing's going to explode. But you'll see, everyone else is nice and calm. This thing starts crackling and I'm like,
fantastic. Oh my God, that's a meme. Okay, hey, Darian, get on that. Make a meme out of that. Fantastic.
It's a good time for that future to create as well. The free energy is going to land.
So
tell us about that. Tell us about the free energy, please.
Okay, so the device we were working on was called the QEG, and it didn't really go anywhere as far as I know, because it was producing power and it produced more power than you put in, but the guys who were using it, who were developing it, I don't think they could turn it into usable power.
You said, explain a usable power. When you say usable, do you mean that they weren't able to get it to the consumers, or they didn't have a mechanism to actually harness the power that they were bringing in? Okay,
the problem was that the voltage and the frequency and the ampage
would you mind
phase.
getting me a coffee?
Sorry, what was that? What was that, Dave?
Sorry, Stoney was saying something.
He was asking for coffee.
Yeah.
He some coffee. Let's coffee.
Okay. Yeah, so the problem was that the voltage and the ampage were out of phase. So you got like 100,000 volts with no amps. Okay. And then in the next part of the phase, you got like 300 amps, but no voltage, because they were literally out of phase. So as the voltage was up, the ampage was down, and they were so we were getting sparks across a spark gap about that wide, which is like a phenomenal amount of power. That's where I jumped, because we had a spark gap way bigger than anything should be able to jump, and he spun the thing up, weren't expecting anything, and this thing just went we're like, whoa, where did that come from? So that was the problem. And I had a solution, but they weren't listening to me. So because I noticed that the energy was very, very much like the energy that came out off the free energy device that I was working on, which was the Bedini Energizer. So the story of the Bedini Energizer is that this guy, John Bedini, he noticed that, do you remember those little executive toys that used to be on people's desks in the 80s? Those little things that used to spin around, or, you know, little things that, so
little gyroscopes.
Yeah. So
the balls.
Little balls, or, you know, but they were electrically powered, so they just keep going for a long, forever, basically. Well, he noticed that the batteries in those, there's just a little 1A AA battery. That battery would last for months and months and months at a time. And he was like, well, how could it last that long? And he figured out that the circuit that would kick off whenever a magnet went near a coil, you know, so let's imagine it was a spinning top, and a little spinning top had a couple of magnets in it. And so the spinning top would be on a surface that would always bring it to the center. And under the center was a coil. So when the magnet went near the coil would give it a little kick, and make it spin a bit more. So it would just keep going forever. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But what he worked out was when the coil gave the magnet a little kick, the magnet basically fed or created a spike of energy that would go back into the battery. And so it would charge the battery.
Okay.
So what John Bedini did was extract that part of the circuit, and it's very, very simple. And he built this, he designed this little little wheel, a device that would just charge batteries. And the story goes that his neighbor's 10-year-old daughter wanted something for the science fair. So John Bedini just sketched a little circuit on the back of a napkin and said, "Oh, build that." And so she built this thing with a bicycle wheel with magnets on it and a little coil, and that little very, very simple circuit. And it basically kept a light bulb alight for like 2 weeks for this science fair off of a very small battery. And so that circuit was released online. It's called the Simple Schoolgirl Circuit, SSG.
Okay.
Yeah.
Simple Schoolgirl Circuit.
Yes. So anyone can you can Google it now and find, you know, the SSG or Bedini Energizer, the Simple Schoolgirl Circuit, and it's just very simple. Yep.
I've seen it demonstrated with the wheel. The website was called ASM. This angel wing thing. But yeah, I saw it demonstrated on there. It was like continuous. That little kick just continuously gave it a kick and then charged at the same time.
Yep.
That was like a crazy. I remember that. Yeah.
So I built one myself. One of my earliest videos is me building a little Bedini Energizer out of a hard disk. So I ripped a hard disk apart, and the little disk inside, I just stuck some magnets on it, and I built it from that. And it literally, you can see it on my video, charging like I had a little battery powering it, a little don't know if it's even smaller than a motorcycle battery, a little battery powering it, and it was charging up a car battery underneath.
Wow.
And so I ended up buying John Bedini's 10 coil, so a massive wheel with 80 circuits rather than the one circuit, 80 of them slapped together. And when we got that running, it was again Tesla style sparks, you know.
Oh wow.
And then I built a motionless version. I figured out how to build one that didn't even need the wheel. You just built put the coils together, and it would do it without having it, you know, a wheel moving around. And I had that powering my motorhome for like 3 months until I blew it up. I was experimenting.
Oh wow.
Have you patented these designs that you've built?
I can't, because John Bedini put it out for free.
Fantastic.
Okay.
So the flaw that John Bedini has, you've resolved it?
Well, no, it wasn't a flaw. I mean, because the version with the wheel is great because you got free motion. You can use that motion
Right.
for anything. You know, you could actually add a generator to that, and it will also generate normal power. Yeah, and because that's free, that motion is free.
So, I have a bunch of patents. So I'm just yeah, I'm trying to. So are you still doing this? Is the question I'm trying to figure out. Is this something that you're trying to tell us about? Is something that this is something that's very in line with all of us. All of us kind of met through the Tesla coil that's being produced down in Mexico by Christian. So that's how we kind of met. So, you know, you're talking about this coil producing free energy. You know, it's like, okay, listen, I just literally financed one last year, a Tesla coil for healing. So tell us about this, and tell us how, if we apply this to, so here's what's going on. This is a post-matrix experiment that we're doing. And we're trying to help people walk away, you know, help people walk away. And some things you're gonna need is free power, free water, these things. Explain how this device could be attached to something portable or home, or tell us how it can be, how you would envision this for the people who want to be kind of off track, more into the suburbs, and even all people who might want to be in the wilderness or the desert, but just kind of off grid more. How would you apply that to their lifestyle?
Okay. So again, I blew up my motionless Bedini Energizer. If I was to build it again, which I hope to, if I manage to get a new motorhome, I'm going to definitely build one to do this. So there's a type of washing machine you can get. Okay, in the back of this washing machine is what's known as a direct drive motor. It's it's called a direct drive motor. Okay, so instead of your usual kind of little cylinder with a rod in the middle that spins, yeah, instead of that, it's more like a pizza dish. So imagine a pizza dish with the upturned edges, and round on the inside of those upturned edges are magnets. And so the rotor or the stator, sorry, the static part is inside, which got coils all the way around, and literally the whole pizza dish thing moves around. So now you've got lots and lots of torque, yeah, more torque than you would have for a little spindle, yeah. So in the back of a washing machine, a direct drive washing machine, are these amazing motors, and I would get like 2 or 3 of those and rewire them as generators, okay, because they will, you know, they will put out a lot of energy as well. So I'd pancake them together and connect them to a Bedini wheel, essentially, because as I said, that motion is free. It's just a byproduct, you know. It's not, you know, it is generating the energy, but as a byproduct, you get a kick from it as well. So it's free energy, and also the other thing about that is if you add a load, to that that wheel, that wheel starts to oh, sorry.
Yeah, so I think that's Leo Da Vinci. That's Leo Da Vinci.
Hey, mute yourself, Da Vinci. Sorry with that, brother. Continue on, brother.
Yeah. So the amazing thing about this this Bedini wheel is if you put a load on that wheel, it starts to draw less current off of the running battery. So the battery lasts longer if you put a load on that wheel. You know, so it's amazing. So you've got this free motion that you can use, and I say if you slave that to you take that motion and you apply it to these direct drive motors, you can generate a lot of power, and the little battery that runs the Bedini lasts for a long time. And if you're clever, you can add a switching system where the output of the Bedini, which is charging batteries, will also charge an input battery as well, that you can change over. If the input battery gets low, you can just flip them over. So now the input battery gets charged as well. Right, so you're charging batteries and producing power on the other end, and this thing just runs continuously.
So I have a question for you.
That sounds beautiful.
That
Put
is
that in.
so your background. What is your background? Are you an engineer? What is your background? What did you do for a profession before? You know.
Okay, my last profession was a computer programmer. Before that, I was an electronic engineer. And before that, I was a carpenter, and before that, I did a lot of stuff because I liked experience.
So can I ask you a question?
That.
I'm a bit of an inventor, and I created a technology it's pretty fantastic. I have a pair of glasses that anyone in the world can make a pair of prescription glasses by hand without a machine in under 3 minutes for $5.
Cool.
So no matter how strong the prescription, no matter how thick it is, bifocals, everything, you can do it by hand with this new process for only $5. Anybody? Actually, it's only $3. So I'm developing. Yes, it's pretty revolutionary. But I'm developing a particular pair right now that basically anything optically inclined that wants to correct the astigmatism, whether it's a pair of binoculars or a camera, 3D glasses, the world has to go through me first to get permission to be able to do so. The pair of glasses in these pair of glasses, you can make yourself. That's the whole point. I'm doing the same thing. I'm giving this technology to humanity so everyone can make their own glasses, so everyone in the world can have glasses.
Right.
But this particular technology, I'm trying to add a Bluetooth feature to this pair of glasses, but I want to be able to do so without putting radiation in the ear. Brother, can you help me put a Bluetooth in this pair of glasses? Because this pair of glasses is going to be $25. It's it put any prescription in the world done in a matter of seconds, better than any machine in the world with this new process. And I want to add a Bluetooth to it, but I want to be able to do so without it having to have the harmful radiation that we're experiencing now with our cell phones. So essentially, your glasses are going to be your cell phones. Your temples are going to be your new speakers on your cell phone, and this pair of glasses is going to be engineering right now. Could you help me with that?
Not really, because unfortunately the Bluetooth standard is the I think it's the 2.4 gigahertz, or which again, one of the frequencies that harms your blood, I believe. It harms you. So there's no way, unless you want to add something that's remote from the glasses. I mean, wired remote. Yeah. So which makes it.
So can I ask a favor of you? I'm going to send you the Tesla coil technology. It's a free technology. In the Tesla coil, the technology of Tesla coil is the opposite. And it's cell phones can be used with this technology currently.
Negative is the energy is negative, and it kind of you can literally touch it.
Yes, and it's healing. It's healing energy. Well, I'm going to send you this technology. Yes, sir. Please.
I was just going to say that is the energy is the same energy that comes out of the Bedini. It's a radiant energy. It's negative energy, implosive energy, and the spike that this Bedini produces is identical to a nerve spike. So the spike of energy that as nerves fire, it's the same energy. And yes, it also heals. So you can put your hands on the terminals.
Right.
We got to find some energy like devices that tune straight into the, there's got to be a way to incorporate it with the glasses.
Well, and see, and what in the technology you were discussing as far as how the spike takes place, I was thinking just that because the spike takes place and the power is low frequency and the spike takes place naturally, it doesn't have to be much power. But because this is negative power, I want to know if I was thinking that someone clever like you can figure out that part, because this is negative energy coming in. It's a negative feed, but the power still produces the same thing. And it also does it through the air. I can hold a light bulb and hold a light bulb. Matter of fact, there's a demonstration that we have. We want to send it to you. And I can hold a light bulb and just come close to it, and it'll make the light bulb turn on.
So it's the same energy. You're saying it's the same
radiant
energy.
radiant energy.
Yeah,
yes.
radiant energy.
You can do the same thing with a beanie. Hold a neon bulb with one leg and put it near the wire, and it will light up.
Yeah.
Right.
So now here's the thing about your idea, I'm afraid.
Okay.
My view is that we don't need that sort of technology.
Yeah, you're right.
Kind of like
I agree.
Kind of like when before I had a sat nav, I could figure my way anywhere around the country without a map. You know, I'd just say, okay, I need to be in Glasgow at a certain place. Without a map, I'd go up north and figure out. Literally, I know I'd.
I can say, look, I can see how we, in a way, with this technology, you can smash up the economy. That's one thing about this tech. That's why that's like the value in a way, because the money that they make from charging expensive for glasses, especially for poor people.
Right. Again, I'm not talking about the glasses aspect. And I am in a way, because glasses actually have a negative effect on people, because then your body starts to rely on these glasses, and and then you end up getting weaker and weaker because your body relies more and more on these glasses.
But remember, the reason why our bodies aren't fighting and reproducing and fighting back the way we're supposed to is because it's not the glasses. It's because we're fighting different frequencies. Like that 5G's turned up higher, and because that 5G's turned up higher, our eyeballs are being fried 24 hours a day because of the mucus on it. So it's not that it's the glasses, it's the conditions. Right. And I'm not saying that. I'm telling you, as the expert on the planet on this, it's not the glasses, it's the condition. The conditions are, and right now, 75% of people wear glasses on the planet right now. When we was kids, nobody in our class wore glasses. 100 years ago, anybody wearing glasses was called handicapped. They was considered disabled. But now 75% of humanity wears glasses, and the spikes keep happening every time we're putting different 5G. So it's not the glasses. The glasses is a Band-Aid, that stops a progression of something, because people are going blind because these waves that we're still being bombarded by, they have no protection. So until we can get someone to turn off these waves, you need to have some type of protection in front of your eyes. So I'm with you with technology 1,000,000%. But if I'm giving you a pair of glasses that cost $500 and a cell phone in one, and it only costs $25, well, I'd rather it's much better in the hands of humanity than in the hands of the people who are currently doing it. So that's why we do these type of things.
All I'm saying is, I'm not having to go at your product and whatever. I'm just saying that.
No. But I just want to expect. We just want to put everything into context. That listen, things are bad, but you need a Band-Aid for now. And until they turn that 5G off, things are going to progressively get worse.
That's not going to happen though. It's only going to scale up.
I got you.
Trust me, it's happening right now. All of it's shutting off.
All I'm saying is that, okay, with the sat nav thing, okay, before a sat nav came along, I could navigate. Now I've got a sat nav, I can't navigate. Right. Before I had a cell phone, okay, I could remember a dozen numbers. Yeah. Now I can't remember any numbers. Yeah. Yeah. We have.
And I don't program names in my cell phone. I still remember numbers for that exact same reason.
Right, but the point is that before we started to rely on technology, right, we had innate abilities that got suppressed because now we rely on this technology.
Yes.
Okay. Telepathy
Yeah.
works in the same way. You know, we still use telepathy, and we don't realize it. You know, sometimes we just say, oh, it's a coincidence. You know, it's a coincidence that I was thinking about John Smith, and then all of a sudden John Smith phones me up. You know, it's just a coincidence. No, we use our innate abilities all the time. But now that we've got cell phones, we don't need to use it. We start relying on the cell phone, and our abilities get suppressed.
I hear that.
You know,
It becomes an extension of us in a sense.
Yes. And then it's like it's like if you start using a crutch, you break your leg and you start using a crutch. Like your leg heals. If you carry on using that crutch, you'll never use that leg again.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Like language, just speaking the language, you lose your language if you stop speaking it. 100%.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So I'm not having to go at your idea and stuff, but my view is to try and get away from technology. I want to start the new Luddite movement. You know, a lot of this technology, I just want to smash and say, look, we don't need it. I don't need it. It's very convenient and all that, but when you really look at it, the technology is only relevant, or a lot of this technology is only relevant in this society. You know.
I love it because I got to meet Dave though. God bless. That's a big benefit to the technology.
But you know, you could have the best cell phone in the world, but if you were marooned on a desert island, it's a brick. You know, it's just a piece of plastic. Imagine you might be able to use it to bash things with or whatever, but it's no good. It's only relevant in this society.
Yes.
Guys, we gotta give the introductions now. We gotta give some introductions properly. Because we got Little Da Vinci in the building and we got Darren in the building. Darren's been here for time, God bless, but we didn't give the proper introductions. And we got Dave Murphy, but I'm just giving the introductions, sending the love to everyone right now. Little Da Vinci, what are you saying?
Yo, what's good? What's good?
How you doing, bro?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do a little intro.
How you doing, man?
All is well, just maintaining. Trying to look for my other phone, but how about y'all though? My bad, my phone cut off, so
it's fine. We're glad you made it. We're glad you made it. This the gentleman we're interviewing, it's funny, we had all of us were touched by the same gentleman, and he kind of heavily influenced all of us in that.
I didn't touch any of them. I didn't touch any.
Not physically.
You made me out like a sex offender.
Well, did I say touch? I said touch them, right? I touched them, right? Because I can't confirm anything. But he inspired us. From all of us in different ways. You know, it was his independence and his braveness to come out and say it when no one else was saying it made me say, you know, that's true courage. So this is the gentleman who inspired a whole bunch of us. If you're not familiar with him already.
Yeah, I think Dave saved my health, to be honest. Like, I know you're probably looking at me thinking, well, geez, well, this guy's health got saved. Like, what? Like, where was he before? Like, but for real, the urine therapy was a massive change. Just reading the book in general, because it goes into all aspects of holographic theory of the mind, the kind of what's actually in your food, and then also like kind of what the body is. Like, you know, that kind of search in itself has really like led me to so many places in my life that, like, you know, the spiritual path that's fulfilling. So yeah, no, God bless you, Dave. I don't know what words, just God bless you. A million times. Namaste.
That's peace.
So Dave, what are the things that you're doing now? Like your passions that you're putting your time, your energy in.
Right. Well, so one of the solutions that you know, people talk about, you know, at this day and age with all this stuff going on, you know, is to create a community. Yeah. And I mean, I've been sort of part of that for the last, I don't know, 15 years or so. That lots of different communities out in the middle of nowhere, and I've kind of concluded that it's not going to work if you just grab a group of people and run away to the woods or something and create your own little community. That's not going to work. So what will work is if you transform the community you're already in. And so so that's what I've been concentrating on for the last guess year and a half now. That we
go to Baltimore.
What is that?
You should try that. Go to Baltimore. Try that in Baltimore.
I'd love to. I'd love to actually, because we created something called the Eastbourne Community Cooperative. So essentially, we just got a whole bunch of people together to work together towards the same goal, that we support each other, and so that we can live as best we can independently of the system. So if the system goes down, you know, we're like a mutual support network.
So what kind of things that you guys like, your support system? Is it like, does someone take care of groceries? Does somebody take care of water? How does that work?
Right. So right now, some of the initiatives we've got a homeschool group. We've got okay. One of the initiatives we started regarding food is that we most of the members donated their back gardens, so we started growing food in everyone's back garden. Then we've literally liberated an abandoned nursery or garden center. Okay, so this place has been abandoned for about 15 years, and all these massive greenhouses have been full of undergrowth. Literally, the trees had grown through this thing. So we've literally spent the last year hacking our way into it and trying to restore it. And now we've started growing food in at least one or two of the greenhouses now. We've got like 4 more massive greenhouses, about 100-foot long by about 20-foot wide, and we've got 6 of those. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so we've started growing food in 2 of them, and we're in the process of liberating or clearing out the rest of them. But hopefully, we're already started to grow food, and we'll have enough to grow food for our entire community.
Man, that's.
We're
can you
starting,
name of this place again? The organization again, please repeat it, please.
It's the Eastbourne Community Cooperative.
Wow.
It's eccoop.co.uk.
Okay, we're gonna make sure we put your information on the because we gotta something we can kind of look at you guys. I'm
gonna go down there.
Yeah. Right? We have a London correspondent. Can we send our London correspondents down to interview you to see what you're doing? Is that possible?
Sure.
I have this guy who's really, really professional, and he'll come past there, and he's real professional.
Okay. So we're doing. I do talks a lot in the community. So I give a lot of talks, and there's a few others give talks. We're starting the Eastbourne Constabulary. So I'm training peace constables to protect the people. So protect the people against the police, against bailiffs, against council workers. Anybody who's trying to oppose and oppress the people. I teach people how to stand them down. With a combination of technique, of knowledge of common law, knowledge of statute law as well, and literally we hold them to account and stand them down. So
your organization, how your members, we have is growing small right now, or
right now it's quite small, but it's because we've been very careful who we let in. We're doing anyone who joins. We have a whole new members meeting, so we get to meet them, and they get to meet us.
Yeah,
so
that's right. Those agents. That's right.
we've
right.
identified two.
Mhm.
Yeah, we've identified two people that we're not going to let in because
too risky. It's too risky.
Yeah.
Well,
So yeah, we've got all these we've got loads of initiatives going on, and we've got like a pack to help people, other groups do exactly the same thing. So we're trying to get a whole network of these communities together so that we can start helping each other. So on a larger basis.
Make a commonwealth.
Yes, essentially.
Yeah.
So a city or a town which is maybe 15 miles away, they're starting their own cooperative, and we're kind of linking with them as well. And so the nearest town to us, we're almost one group now, because they're meshing together so well. So yes, it's very exciting.
I saw the other day. I was just going to drop it in there for anyone out there watching. There's a video the other day where Dave arrests like 7 policemen.
I saw it. It was hilarious.
A citizen's arrest.
I was waiting for somebody to punch him in his face.
That's amazing.
But
yeah,
you notice though, the cop didn't argue. He didn't say, no, you're wrong, or you can't do that, or he didn't laugh at us or anything. Yeah, he took it deadly seriously.
He said, I understand.
He said, I understand. And also there was he said that the others misunderstood. He said, it's not incumbent on you to know the police caution. Right. And everybody jumped up and said, yes, it is. And but what he was saying is, as a member of the public doing a citizen arrest, you don't have to repeat the police caution.
Yeah.
You can just say you're under arrest.
Yeah.
I'm arresting you. He wasn't opposing us as such. He had to do his job as he saw it, but he wasn't. Yeah, you're right.
He seemed like a good soul. He seemed like in a way, like he didn't. I hear what you're saying, really. Like,
yeah, he seemed. I agree, brother. It was amazing to watch you arrest a police officer. I like to see you do it outside of the camera, though. See how that works out for you.
Well, actually, before that sequence, I arrested 3 other police officers, and so yeah, I arrested the original 3, and then we called the police to come and take them into custody. So
what was the charge?
The charge was misconduct in public office, because they didn't do their job. Yeah, they were supposed to do their job and basically investigate and shut down the vaccination center, right? Because there's an investigation going on. They didn't do their job, so the next police who arrived should have taken them into custody, because it's not their job to decide whether the arrest is right or not. Their job is to take them into custody and let a court decide.
Right.
Was that your idea, sir?
Sorry?
Was that your idea?
Well, yeah, because none of the other groups who are doing the same thing have arrested a police officer. But I wanted to take it a stage further.
Brilliant tactic. A brilliant tactic. I mean, the genius involved in that level of thinking. Man, the genius in that level of thinking. Well done, bro. And what about expect? What if I wanted to come over there and hang out? What if I wanted to come over there and hang out and bring all my friends in Baltimore with all this, who just like me?
Well, I'd like to go to Baltimore, and let's change Baltimore for you.
Okay, so I would love to find a way to maybe kind of come along with you on this journey, and kind of, if you don't mind, catalog what you're doing so you can show us how to do it. Because, brother, what you're doing is what I think the whole world is trying to lean more towards. Everyone is feeling that same way, and the whole world can do it once somebody shows them how to do it, and you guys are doing it. I would love to be able to, if it's something that you're able to allow, I would love to be able to, catalog your journey and to step by step, if possible, show us, this is what you do, this is what you're doing, you know, I mean, if that's something that you're able to do with your time, because I know you're a very busy person, and for security reasons, you may not be able to do other things.
Well,
So
the journey for you is going to be a little different from the one over here, because do you know who Judah is?
no.
Judah.
You
the
don't
Bible?
know
In the
who?
Bible, in the Bible.
Yeah. Do you know
Oh, I
who
thought you said. I thought you
Judah.
said with an R, like Judah. Yeah, Judah. Yeah, Judah. Yeah, 30 pieces of silver. He was Jesus' brother.
No. Judah, a people. Do you know who the
Oh,
people
Judah.
of Judah?
Oh, Judah. Yeah. The 400-year curse country. I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother.
Do you know who
Go
they
ahead,
are?
I
Do
know
you know
what
who
they
that
say they
nation?
are.
Yeah,
Yeah,
who is that nation?
I know, but I don't. Yes, I agree. I agree. But I'm
No,
not.
answer the question. Who is that nation? Who is that nation?
So, let me back it up a little bit. This platform, we have officially denounced all those things. We no longer are subscribing to religion, what this thing called race, nothing. We're only subscribing to a frequency of love. So we call ourselves Black Gold because we denounce those things, because we think that all those labels are lies. They're all lies. And the people who the answer to the question, if the answer to your question, I understand where you're trying to go with it, and you're brilliant, and I love where you're going with it. But the true answer to the question is, it's not just us, it's everybody, it's all humanity. We've all lost our way.
Okay.
And the problem is, because we keep on having these different names and different words, we keep forgetting that we're all connected. We're still one. And there is no people. It's just all of us. We're all connected with this crazy simulation that we're part of. So it's, yes, I understand where you're coming from, but you understand where I'm coming from.
I understand where you're coming from, but there's a story that you're missing here.
Please
Big story you're missing. You say, you know, we're all one. That whole we're all one thing. We're not. There is a bloodline here that is not human. Okay. And that bloodline is in control of the earth right now. This has got nothing to do with religion. Absolutely nothing to do with religion. Religion is there to keep you away from that story, right? Because the people that I'm talking about, the bloodline that's not human that I'm talking about, controls religion. Okay. I mentioned the book Second Esdras. Second Esdras tells you what the last days are going to look like. Okay. And it tells you that the earth is going to be overspread by a three-headed eagle, which might sound like gibberish to you. Okay. But once you find out that the bloodline that's in control symbolizes themselves as the eagle, okay, right, and you can follow that eagle where they left their mark around the world, okay,
on that family crest.
Well, not the family crest. It's more
3 eagles.
Yeah, well, they put some of these bloodlines put the eagle in as part of their crest, but you'll see. Okay, you'll recognize it when I tell you. So the Roman eagle, you know, they used to go into battle with a big eagle, SPQR, yeah. Then the German eagle, okay. In England, it was a bit different because they combine the eagle with the lion to make the griffin, okay. But there's a story to that as well. But then the eagle went to where did he go to to America, okay. Just to underline the point, the book of Obadiah, which is only one chapter, okay, and it's only concerned with talking about what's going to happen to that bloodline that's in control of the earth, what's going to happen to them at the end, okay, and it describes this bloodline. It says, "Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and set thy nest among the stars, okay, then shall I bring you down." So what eagle has set its nest among the stars?
NASA. Is that NASA?
Exactly. So, you know, they supposedly went to the moon.
And
right?
all of them, yeah.
So what was supposedly the first words from the moon?
Houston. Yeah. One step for mankind. One giant step for humankind.
No, before that. Before that was Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Oh,
right. The Eagle has landed.
Set nest in the stars.
No accident. There's no accident. Okay. It's that bloodline has set its nest among the stars. Okay. So what's the three-headed eagle?
Vatican, Rome, military.
Vatican is one. No,
military.
Washington, D.C.
Washington,
D.C.
And then London.
And London. Yes.
Economic. London is the economic one.
They are the three heads of that eagle.
Yeah, religious, economic, and military. And that three-headed eagle has overspread the earth, just like Ezra said, 2,500 years ago. Yeah. Now he tells you what's going to happen to that three-headed eagle, and I've done a video called Prophecy and Judgment, because Ezra says that the middle head of the eagle, the strongest head, the head that has put the whole earth in fear, right, will suddenly disappear without a fight. And I've shown you in that video, Prophecy and Judgment, I've shown you what I think is going to happen to that middle head, which is America. And it's not going to be pretty.
Dave, so I got a question for you. Do you have or do you feel melanin has anything to do with this?
Only in a kind of tangential way. Okay.
Excuse me. Can you say what not like I know what that word you just said means, but for the people who don't know, can you say that word again and tell them what it means? You know.
Tangential. It means it's not direct. It's kind of just a glancing. It's not a direct way. It's a sort of indirect way. Okay.
But I knew that.
Like a ricochet.
Didn't know. I just wanted to
ask
them,
it's not.
Yeah.
It's not directly connected. It's kind of indirectly connected, because you can't look at somebody and know what nation they are, because there's been so much mixing. I mean, I show in one of my videos, there's a white guy in front of a portrait of a black guy from 1700s, and he's standing there saying about this guy Frank Barber. He's saying Francis had a son called Enoch. Enoch had a son called Norman. Norman had a son called Cedric. Cedric had a son called so and so, and that's me. So this white guy is showing that he's actually a black guy who's been whitened out. Okay, so what I'm saying is you can't look at somebody and know who they are. Okay, so it's not about melanin. It's about a bloodline of people, very particular bloodline of people. Okay, and that bloodline is the bloodline of Adam, and there is another bloodline here that is not the bloodline of Adam. Okay, that is the war we've been in for thousands of years.
Who is the other bloodline of?
Okay, well, it goes back to that one line in Genesis about the fallen angels having sex with women. That Nephilim bloodline is still here today. Yeah, and it hates humanity.
So can I add
turning? Sorry, go on.
To build on that, just something that I've been noticing a lot when I listen to Gilgamesh. And when I listen to some of the stories, I noticed that the gods think that humanity is too loud, like we're being too loud for them. So just something that I don't know if that resonates with anyone else, but I've been reading the story and it's like, wow, I keep hearing stories about the Epic of Gilgamesh. They said the flood was caused, of course, of killing the bull of heaven, but they were so irritated with the humans that they wanted to cleanse the earth because the humans were too loud. And of course, it was for the Nephilim, of course. I'm just simply saying that they don't like things being loud. And I don't know if anybody can build on that, but I'm just seeing a whole bunch of that as of late.
Right. I think there was, again, some corruption in there because you know, the flood was actually to get rid of that bloodline, and it couldn't get rid of that bloodline altogether because there was only one
Yep.
man who was left who wasn't corrupted by it. So one man can't repopulate the earth. So you'll find that Noah's wife was of the bloodline of Cain, which was a corrupted bloodline, and Noah had to find wives for his 3 sons like a week before the flood. So all the wives were corrupted as well. So that bloodline got the other side of the flood through the DNA, basically the corrupted DNA, which eventually, if you follow the story, kind of split. So you got 2 twins, Esau and Jacob, and in Esau, the fallen angel bloodline was concentrated, and in Jacob it was absent. Right, so Jacob was now pure, cleaned bloodline, and that's Adam's bloodline, and now you've got the fallen angel DNA concentrated in Esau, and that's the battle, Jacob and Esau.
So that was the split right there, Jacob and Esau.
Yes, and if you read the story, Jacob and Esau were fighting while they were in the womb. They were literally fighting each other in the womb. And even when they were being born, they were still fighting. Jacob had hung on to Esau's heel as he was being born. You know, where do you think you were going? You know? Yeah, where do you think you were going? You know.
What do you think about the? I was going to ask about the stories of, like, I think it's Toth, where he's like one of these guys that basically it says some weird kind of story. I think it's in the Emerald Tablets where he basically floats above when Atlantis gets flooded. And it's like this story of, like, there was a flood that was destined to wipe these guys out. And then he's taken like a ship of people and floated above it. And I just was curious to kind of hear your take on that.
Well, I've got a very weird take on that bit because first of all those gods of Egypt and the gods of Greece and the gods of Rome, they're all the same fallen angels.
Mm-hmm.
The same fallen angels, different names. Now, I've got a
So is that the same cadre that fell?
Yep.
Do they repopulate themselves? Do they have more?
No, the only way they can propagate is by mixing with humanity. Now, this is again going off topic a little bit. You know, the Old Testament talks about giants, but I think there are other things as well as giants, and I think one of those things look like H.R. Geiger's Alien. You know, the alien from Aliens.
Yeah? You know what? Let me just say that's a recurring thing that I see in the dudes now. All of that alien look. Do you notice that now? Everybody looks like Jar Jar Binks. They got that look, the alien predator face.
Well, I just want, you know, if I could, I can't show it, I can't find it, but in one of my talks, I show a picture of the alien. I also show then the fossil pictures from the fossil record of supposedly humans with the long elongated skull. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I show pictures of some of the elite families with a slightly elongated skull. So the Rothschilds, I will show a picture of a Rothschild with a slightly longer skull than normal. And Shimon Peres, he's got a slightly longer skull than normal. Yeah, so I'm saying that just like in the film Aliens, when the alien propagates with humans, it becomes more and more human-like. Because in the fourth film, the alien actually had a very skeletal human face. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. That as they mixed more of humanity, they got more and more human-like.
So that would mean then that the bloodline survived in multiple ways, basically.
Yes.
So the story is more spread out, but like the story's wild.
Story's wild, and we live in a science fiction story, really. It is a really science fiction type story. We just think it's a, you know, we've been kept away from all that, and we think it's an ordinary world, ordinary 9 to 5 world, and you know, nothing all extraordinary ever happens. Yeah, but it's not true.
It's like a Russian nesting doll of Matrix.
Mm-hmm. And I know, I understand what you're saying about, you know, what you want to, how you want to see the world, but the world is very, very different to that. And this book, this one book that's been with humanity for the whole of human history, right? That doesn't happen by accident, for one thing. Yeah, that there's one book that's always been with humanity. Yeah, and they can't get rid of it. No matter how they try, they can't get rid of it. It's always there. Okay, and that book just so happens to have the story of this earth written into it. Yeah,
I feel like the story is written and encoded in a way that's so multi-layered that it has the ability to almost redefine itself this time, and every time different versions of the Matrix. No,
I'll tell you why. Okay, because the language it was written in is such a language that you can't reinterpret it. You can't see it any other way than it actually is. And I can give you a little example, if you want, of how this language works.
Please do. Please do.
Yeah, if that's all right.
Please do.
Okay, so you might have, if you've seen some of my videos, you might have already seen this example, but let's go. I'm going to describe a film to you in English, and you have to guess what the film is. Okay, right. A man on the autistic spectrum recounts his life to strangers. What's the film?
Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump. Any other ideas?
No, that
Awakenings.
Rain Man.
Rain Man. Anything else?
Awakenings.
Okay, so, and I'll take it nobody else has got any other ideas. Okay. Oh, I'm not going to tell you if you're right or wrong, right? So I've got Awakenings, Rain Man, and Forrest Gump. Okay, right. So what happened when I was describing it to you? In the left-hand side of your brain, you were listening to the sounds I was making. You were fetching the meanings of those sounds, and then you were comparing those meanings with a list of films you'd watched. And then you guessed at what the film was. Okay, that's a process called logical deduction, and that was created for you by this system. Okay,
logical deduction.
Logical deduction. Yeah, that's not the natural way that your being works. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you the same film in Paleo Hebrew, which is the original language of mankind, and there's more to it, but I'll just leave it at that. The original language of mankind, and it's a language of pictures. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you the same film in emojis. Okay, so you have to guess. You have to guess what the film is, and I want you to stick your hand up when you know what the film is. Okay.
All right. For sure.
Okay. Here are the emojis: man running, a group of trees, a park bench, a box of chocolates, a shrimp, and a boat. Right. So you already know what the film is, yeah? So, So what happened there was, when I was describing the images, the left-hand side of your brain couldn't get involved because it can't analyze images. It can analyze language, but it can't analyze a set of images because they're just pictures. Okay. So as you were imaging the pictures, at some point you knew what the film was. It just welled up from inside you. Your intuition told you what that film was. There was no guesswork whatsoever. You knew what the film was. Okay. I could have given you that those images in any order and you would have still got it. Okay. That set of images cannot mean Rain Man. It cannot mean beautiful mind.
This is what I mean. This is what I mean by it can be interpreted differently, though, because I'm going to do something mean now, because I'm going to I'm going to talk about the Hebrew letters. There's 22, right? Is there 22?
Yeah, but not the Hebrew you're talking about, though.
No? Okay, so
No,
I've got this wrong.
because the Hebrew you're talking about is made up. It's modern, made
Oh,
up.
no, not that one. Does paleo, how many letters
Paleo.
does it have?
22, yeah.
22. Okay, so the reason the 22 is important is because for me, I really like the astrology and the tarot cards. And in the tarot cards, you've got the 22 major arcana, which all of them, you can interpret them into astrological symbols. The 12 constellations plus the 7 planets plus 3 elements equals 22. And so each card basically has this kind of elemental, gender, numerical, like number. It's basically got like a bit of number and a bit of flavor, each one of the 22. And so for me, who doesn't understand like Hebrew, but
I've just shown you you don't need to understand Hebrew. Yeah, I just gave you a set of pictures for a film and you got it. Yeah. And Hebrew is a dead language now, but if you imagine that, you know, all the pictures of from the Paleo Hebrew were things that people understood, like the A was the head of an ox. So an ox, everyone knows what an ox is like, yeah? So back in those days, everyone would know what any word meant, right? Because there'd be things in their world and they would know what it means, right? And this is what I'm saying, that you can't reinterpret the Old Testament or the Hebrew scriptures, because every single word in that book was just like that Forrest Gump example. You knew what it meant. It can't mean anything but that. Yeah.
What I'm trying to say, I guess, and is like, by looking at it now and applying it to nowadays, and also looking at it and applying it to times from the past, it's
1918, 1912. It could be applied to both times.
I feel like, yeah, but each time is like the reinterpretation by applying. But no, I'm maybe it's just a bad use of my words. There's something about it that.
I'm just saying that the language came first. The language came first, and this all this astrology stuff came way after. Yeah. And if something's already existing, you can build something on top of that existing system and make it significant, right? I'm saying the language is significant, not the astrological interpretation of the language.
I'm saying that the language is the astrology. It's the same thing.
No, it's not.
Yeah, one of them is Taurus. One of them is Aries.
But I guess what David's saying is
that's what some people would suggest.
Like the sound first had to be established in order for the then conclusion to be associated and connect Taurus to this, you know, because we have this universal model of belief. So we're constantly connecting things to this one model of belief. How can we tie this function into how it plays out on a larger role? So I think in that case, you would definitely have to establish a sound, and the language would kind of take precedence, because without the language, how would you even communicate Taurus? How would you even symbolate and formulate the words in that fashion to describe that energy or that frequency?
Okay, can I describe how one particular word in Paleo Hebrew? Okay, the word for father. Okay, word for father in Paleo Hebrew is Abba. It's A-B. Okay, in English. So the letter A is the head of an ox. Okay,
right.
That letter A, that head of an ox, means strength, power, leadership, guidance first. Yeah, and there's a couple of others I can't remember. Okay, so like the Forrest Gump example, you take all of those meanings and see what it feels like to you. Okay, right. So that's the letter A. The letter B is the floor plan of a tent. Yeah, it's where they used to live. Yeah, it's live in tents. So floor plan of a tent. So it means inside, within, house, home, family, bloodline. Okay.
Yes, I see you.
Right. So
let me. I can ask.
A father. So I just finish the example. Father then is strength, power, leadership, first teacher of the house, home, family bloodline.
Mm.
Okay, it's not just a label, and again, putting it into English minimizes it, right? But it's not just a label, it's a role, it's an experience, it's a whole thing. That's the whole encapsulation of a father in that word.
And can I just
So,
I don't want to say devil's advocate, but like you said, this one book, right? This one book has survived the test of time. This one single book. And it's just have we considered that maybe this one book has survived time and everything has been horrible since this one book. And if this one book has survived, then this one book is the system. And if this one book has Abba as man, and we put man in front of things, that's where everything broke down, because it's the woman. We're doing everything backwards. And maybe this book is being told from a perspective of somebody who's opposite of the true nature of how the earth and how humanity is supposed to behave. Because our heroes in the Bible are horrible, torturous creatures, and they do not exude the true nature of the true creation. So is it possible? Now, I'm not saying this is the case. I'm saying, is it possible that we're saying that this thing has made it through the test of time, but since time has started, things have been pretty shitty. So maybe it's run from a different perspective. So just a consideration, because everybody here agrees with what you say, because we all operating on a frequency, and I'm actually agreeing with what you say. It's just for the people out there who want to make sure we're giving you a fair interview, and we make sure we're going to challenge you, not challenge you like that, but just give you another.
I have one more challenge if I'm allowed one.
Well, I don't want to use the word challenge,
because I never get, this is a magical moment for me to be able to talk to like one of my teachers. Is just an amazing moment. So I really want to share my screen and just show you this. Let me move this out of the way. So the word for father was the word for Aleph, right? Was it Aleph and it was A and B? Yeah. I know these are not the right symbols, but I'm trying to find another one with all the symbols. Is this the wrong alphabet completely?
I'm trying to say, hang on. Okay. Yes, wrong. It's wrong. Yeah.
Oh, so I can't spell. I'm sad because I was thinking it was A and B.
Okay. All right. So
it is AB.
It is AB. Yes.
So A and B in the zodiac one down here, the zodiac one says air and Mercury. So that's two very big signs on because you could get a constellation where there's 12 of, but here it's a planet. It's Mercury, which represents the mental. That's the B. So Mercury is an interesting sign because it's got the feminine symbols in a way. It's got the moon, it's got the Venus sign, but it's a masculine. So it's got this kind of feminine vibe to it, but it's also masculine. And air as like this spiritual kind of star of, just spirit. And so the word, if it's A and B in astrology, is air and Mercury. And that's interesting for me, who doesn't understand Hebrew. It's like I almost do. That was my thing. Because also for me, what taught me about flat Earth was when you described about the stars. And that was what triggered me, because my mum always taught me Ursa Major, and it points to Polaris. And that's the way to north. And from young age, I had that knowledge of the star is this thing, and it points north. And and so for me, they're a big part of stuff like flat Earth. Basically, it gives me a lot of like sense, like electromagnetically, of this matrix, like the different planets, the different dimensions, different frequencies, basically.
Except the planets don't exist.
Well, they do, because you can see them though.
They're lights in the sky, but they're not places to go.
Well, there's 7 lights that are unique to all the other lights, which are fixed.
Yeah, the wandering stars.
So that each one of them is unique. And
well, all the stars are unique, but yeah, these ones wander. That's why that's the word planet means, wandering star. Yeah.
They take a different path along the torus, or they represent a different part of the torus ultimately, or something. It's like a beautiful instrument.
It's blue shirt guy. It's blue shirt guy. It's we're being conditioned again. We're being conditioned. If we took all the constellations away and removed all of the check boxes, we could redesign our own set of new constellations.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When we look at the constellations and we single out the Big Dipper and the North Star, we're being more conditioned and programmed. If we're saying we got billions of stars, we are ignoring the whole and focusing on the star, the Big Dipper, the Uranus, these things. And again, it puts us in a place where we're focusing on the one, but all the things in the back that make up the sky, that have to exist to make the sky work, we're ignoring it. It's the same way we're being conditioned with humanity. It's the exact same thing. So I just wanted to mention that we're not talking about the stars that we consider minor, but they're there. So to tell me that this one that we're calling Big Dipper is important and we should acknowledge it because we name it, the billion stars that aren't being named are part of the story too.
Is it
So
a little flickering light, like it's in water, like a little light,
right?
Like when you go underwater and look at the in the swimming pool and you look at the light and you open your eyes underwater.
Well, the thing is that all the stars are different. Every single one of them is unique. So some of them look like that, like they're a light underwater. Some of them look like electrical discharge. Some look like fire. Others look like just a flat disc, or one looks like a wheel. You know, they're all different. Every single one of them. When you zoom into them with a P900.
What are those little dropa stones that float around?
A drone.
What do you mean?
They're like it looks like a wafer with a notch in it, and it's a circle, and they're like.
Oh yes, yes, I saw those. Yeah. But yeah, the thing is, they're all different, and sorry, I've forgotten the guy who's next to me here. Wait, sorry, smooth dude.
Santana.
Can't remember his name.
Santana.
Yes,
Santana. Yes. He's right. There's, it's very odd that we single out 12 constellations out of the North Star. Yes, because it's the one star that's fixed in the sky. Okay, but why 12? Now I think there's. I was going to go there because we've got 24 hours in a day. Yet we have a clock that is separated into 12. Why is that? I think this focus on 12 came before there were constellations. I think the constellations came because the 12 was important, so 12 constellations were chosen.
It would have to be that way.
Sorry?
It's logical. It's logical. It can only be that way. So we're with you. Keep going, brother. You got a smart panel with you, brother.
I actually think the 12 is more important because of the actual shape and nature of the Earth. Now, there was a video that came out just recently called "The Lost History of Flat Earth." Has anyone seen it?
Yeah. You're going to talk about the moon? You're going to talk about the moon?
Well, yes and no. Yes, the moon as well. Yeah, because
is that a different video? Am I thinking of a different?
No, the one. Sorry, go on.
Yeah. So it starts off about showing the kind of ancient network of buildings and such that we see, everywhere. You see them down here in London, you see them over in Spain, Italy, Rome, Russia, everywhere. But then it moved on to something about the map of the Earth being taken in a picture in the moon being a reflection of the original map. The whole torus field, the flat plane, they're taken from above. And we're basically a section, much like the movie Hunger Games. If you've seen the movie Hunger Games, you can understand how the Earth is basically working according to this theory. And it's very interesting because someone overlaid it photographically, our Earth on the flat Earth like projection of the map on top of a section of the moon, and it perfectly overlaps like the dark parts of the moon. It's like the moon is like a snapshot bubble kind of plate thing. It's very strange. It makes you look at the moon in a weird way.
For me, the moon is just a small part of this. Yeah. So here's where I see it, how I see the Earth. Okay. Imagine a lake, a perfectly circular lake. Okay. And that lake is frozen over. Okay. Totally frozen over. Okay. Now, in one corner of that lake, yeah, one quarter of that lake, there's a heat source, a bright heat source that's circling around that one little quarter of that lake, melting out a puddle. It's melting out a puddle in the lake. And in that lake's got lots of continents all throughout that whole lake. But as that heat source melts out a small round puddle, only some of the continents are exposed. Okay, that's our Earth. That lake is our Earth. Okay, or that puddle, sorry, that melted out puddle is our Earth.
Okay.
But that heat source, that sun, is actually spinning around a magnetic center. Okay, and that magnetic center is slowly moving around the greater Earth or the greater lake. Yeah, and it's taking the sun and moon with it. And as it takes it with it, it melts out a different puddle as it goes around.
I hear you.
And as it melts out a different puddle, some continents go under the ice, start, icing up, and then more continents sort of get thawed out as that puddle moves around the greater Earth.
So the whole idea of the ripples and stuff, you don't subscribe to any of this, like outer lands, kind of different dimensional kind of center points, outer beyonds.
No.
Yeah.
I think we, this realm was a created place, as I said in the beginning, that a realm was created where anything is possible. Right. So this is the realm that was created. There is no outside of here because I think this is a bubble of 3D space and time. And so 3D space and time only exists here. So there isn't anywhere outside of here because that would mean more 3D space and time.
See, this is the thing about taking these trips and journeys and stuff like this, is because you go into a space where time and space exists in a different way. And it makes you think like, okay, so this is like a different dimension of time and space. So for me, I'm kind of always blending together these kind of theories. I'm trying to imagine like a lake all frozen over, but with multiple patches, and you can teleport through the South Pole barrier. No teleportation. Well,
I'm going with all the stuff, all the information that we've seen so far, especially the stuff that Iwara Non came out with, this Lost History of Flat Earth. That yes, there are multiple layers of architecture that we didn't build. Yeah, the pyramids we didn't build. Yeah, these buildings that inhabit every city in the world.
Yeah,
I've seen Greco-Roman architecture in China and in India and in Vietnam and all. It's all over the world. So
is that from a Tartarian race or a mud flood?
Okay, that the way I see that is like blind men around an elephant. Yeah, they're looking at one bit and saying, "Oh, that's Tartaria." No, Tartaria is just one little place on Earth, on our Earth, and they're trying to ascribe that to everything. I think there's a architecture that went around the entire greater Earth, right? And it's an architecture that I believe is intuitive. We live in our left-hand side of our brains in logical deduction, yeah. But when you leave that behind and go with intuitive is knowing something without knowing how you know it. Yeah.
Right. Right.
It's just like, I want to do this. Well, I know how to do it, so I'm going to do it. Yeah. So when
Yeah.
it came to building, we just knew how to do it, or people just knew how to do it. And so I think the whole greater Earth is populated with cities that look like great Greco-Roman architecture. And
Right.
as the sun and moon move around and melt out a different puddle, new cities just appear, and people go, "Oh, okay, there's a city here. Let's move in, and we'll make this building
Wow.
a church. We'll make this building a railway station. We'll make this building," and so on and so on.
Wait, sorry, I'm
Okay.
so where do these buildings come from?
Right.
But when the sun used to be there a
Yeah.
long time ago,
Someone built
people
it.
were there. They
And they
built it, and then it went under the ice, and we call it an ice age. But it's not really an
Okay.
ice age. It's like the sun moving away from that spot.
Yeah, I hear you.
And
Okay.
so that land got covered in ice, and all the buildings got preserved in the
Yeah.
ice. And then
I-
when they thaw out, right? Well, where does all that water go? That water
yeah,
stirs up all the silt,
Looks
and
like mud.
and there's mud, and it sort of starts to half bury some of these buildings.
Well, that makes perfect sense. I'm God bless you,
Right,
Dave.
right,
I love that.
right.
Like that's opened up a whole new theory for me of like what we're living in. Because everyone's saying mud flood. I'm thinking, how the fuck did they make a mud flood happen? I'm like, what the fuck?
It didn't how can mud, right? Because somebody, I said when this first came out, okay, so there was a mud flood in America. Yeah. There's a mud flood in Europe, was there? Yep.
Yeah.
At the same time? Yep. So hang on, how did this mud go across the Atlantic Ocean?
Yeah.
Don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
How the
But
fuck
this,
did it happen as well? Is like the big part of it was like, I'm just like, how did it happen?
it doesn't. I can't. No,
Yeah, it doesn't. It
happen.
doesn't. It's way more likely what you're talking about.
I think
So-
that puddle was melting out and going around
Yeah.
and causing all this water, causing the mud.
Okay. Tell me this. I had a feeling, and it just came to me. That the Earth was some type of petri dish that every about 400, 500 years gets stirred up for a new experiment. That's what when I get this, and it's just the information from. I get all of my information. I like triangulate it. I'll get it from the good, the bad, and the ugly, and I'll kind of come up with a median idea, and everything is kind of telling me that it's kind of like a petri dish. And I see about every 400 or 500 years, civilizations are just stirred up somehow. And that when you just told me, I want to make a model of how that ice can just be cutting it into a soup, you said, right? And just like when the heat source is going around, it's melting as it's above it, and the rest over here is
savage
frozen.
turn of events.
So something to consider, though. Something to consider. I noticed that every time that we're thinking about collapses and these different things that happen in history, we keep sensationalizing things and don't realize that things have always, to my belief, has always been the same. Everything has always been the same. I think that everything was available for the whole planet, and what's been going on, they've been taking technology from us. So my belief is slightly different when it comes to that. We're being dumbed down as far as the technology. So
Right.
yeah.
Well, it's funny you mentioned 500 years, because you know what, we had what we'd call a great reset 500 years ago, from what I've seen. Yeah. And
Yeah.
the elite, who knew what was coming, this bloodline who knew what was coming, managed that reset so that we would end up with not knowing anything, and they end up knowing how the world works. Yeah. So if you look, you will find there's something called the general crisis of the 17th century, or I can't remember if it's 17th century or 16th.
Okay, yeah, it was an event. There was an anomaly that took place. Yes, I've been going crazy over the anomaly. No one knows. I can't talk to anybody about it, and I've been going crazy because no one knows about the anomaly. Thank you for mentioning it, because every time I bring it up, they say you're crazy. They're right, I mean, but that part, thank you.
Right. Well, if you imagine that, okay, what one thing that the Old Testament kind of hints at is the fact that the world clock, as it were, is 6,000 years. Okay, and if there's a book called the Book of Jubilees, and it talks about the age of the earth in jubilees, and a jubilee is every 50 years. Okay, so 6,000. Okay, so sorry. Okay, so I have to step back. There's so much information. So 6,000 years is divided by 120 jubilees, basically. Okay, and so it means each jubilee is 50 years. So there's 120 periods of 50 years. Okay, which makes up 6,000 years. Okay, so the greater Earth is basically set up like a clock face, and this is why I think they chose those constellations, because in each of periods, if you divide the greater Earth into 12, right, there's a constellation in that particular area, and that's a major constellation. Okay, constellation that appears on the equinox, so on and so. But yeah, long story.
Well,
but that's why they chose it.
I was going to ask, when is your birthday?
February. It's in a couple of weeks from now.
February the
12th.
February the 12th. So you're Aquarius.
Supposedly, yes. I don't follow that stuff, but yeah.
Sorry, I had to ask. I apologize.
Yeah.
So talking about the stars, and that's the trick. That's the trick, because the Greeks were able to take over the stars. They were able to take over the clock because they were able to align these stars and ignore the rest of the stars. So if we take over the stars and make new alignments, that means we get to control time. It's that simple.
Well, I'm thinking that the clock came about as a representation of the greater Earth. Okay, that we inhabit a sector of the Earth, and I believe it's for 500 years, and then it basically moves on. And I think 500 years was when the last movement happened, and it was very tumultuous. I think that there were people living on land that has now disappeared under the ice, and there was a great movement of people to land that was uncovered, and maybe the names of places in that covered up land have been replicated in new continents. So maybe the London of 600 years ago isn't the same London we've got now. They just called it the same because people moved there and say, well, let's make this London now, because so much happened at that time 500 years ago.
But what we see in our lifetime that we can see, that we visibly see, is these cities, these major cities, St. Louis, London, New York, people keep moving in, they reface them, and people keep moving in. It's kind of like a cycle. Like they sensationalize these things and make it seem like it was this big war and this big X, Y, and Z, but literally people are staying in the same places. These new cities, I mean, they're not any real new cities. People still doing the same thing. People were conquering cities when there was land available. You understand?
Well, what I'm trying to say is that, imagine if you're in a city, okay, and all of a sudden it's getting colder and colder and colder. And, the rivers freeze over and, crops start to fail. It's a famine and people start dying. And then there's a movement. There's land over here. Let's go. And everybody starts moving over. Okay. Right. So I think that's what happened 500 years ago. And when they moved into these new cities, they found cities, complete cities, with the power grid still intact. Okay. Right. So what we see is this phenomena called world's fairs. So there are these world fairs, and there's one in Chicago.
I went down that rabbit hole for many a day, and I've been checking them out, just the architecture. Before you carry on, I think I know where you're going because it kind of resonated with me about with the technology when I was telling you, like every 500 years, it seems like there's people might grab that new technology when it comes out, but it's already had been there.
Yep.
Kind
There's
of.
nothing new under the sun.
Okay,
Right.
continue where you were. I didn't mean to stop you. Go ahead.
Right. So they uncovered these cities. They found these cities, and some of them they had to dig out. Yeah, but they found these cities. But the especially in Chicago, I think, right? Chicago, for instance, had this city already built. Okay, and literally this city was lit up. This city was lit up, right, in a way that we'd struggle to do today. Yeah, but they lit it up. So this Chicago's World Fair was this advanced city, had all this electrical power, and it was lit up like a Christmas tree. And
it
then
was made out of glass.
Yeah, glass and all this, and they're trying to make us believe that they knocked it together with plasterboard and you know, chicken wire and stuff, and then they destroyed the whole thing afterwards because it's only built for the world. No, it was an entire city. It had all this advanced technology, yeah, and they removed it from us. They hid it
lines.
Yeah, they hid it in plain sight by saying, "Look, it's a World Fair," and then they destroyed it all. Now, one interesting thing I noticed, because there's an essay by Benjamin Franklin saying that essentially saying that the world is mostly black. He said the world is mostly black. The only people, white people, are in Saxony, England, and America. There's very few of us. This is from 1751. Okay. Now, in these world fairs, for some strange reason, there's this exhibit for incubators, babies in incubators.
Right,
Lots
I saw that.
Right?
I saw that.
Yeah.
You can adopt them. They were adopting their
and you can adopt them.
They had trains of adoption, orphan trains.
Orphan trains, yes. But there was one picture I found, a very odd picture. And it was, again, one of these incubator sites. And it said, there were signs on the wall that said, "Amazing growth, 1 year in 1 hour." So that these babies were growing, right? 1 year.
Send that to me. Send that to me. Send me that, please.
I'll send you the picture. Yeah. So if that was right, then you know that if that would explain because you know all these incubators, they were growing babies at an accelerated rate. That would explain why there were millions of orphans just suddenly appear and get transported all over the world. Okay, because it wasn't just America that was having orphan trains. There were orphans, loads of orphans in England being transported to Australia, to other places in the world. Okay.
Okay.
All at once.
Okay, listen, bro. Listen.
But there were no black children. There were no black children in these orphan trains.
Listen, we're gonna keep you here all day, and we're so sorry, man. We have enjoyed you, and we want to respect your time because this is kind of what we feed off of. We know you're super duper busy.
We need part 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, exactly. So, would you want to come back on this and expound on these things, because you just hit me with something that, man, no, I can't keep getting hit. I'm already crazy enough. So, man, but I gotta.
Adriano, do you remember our last conversation when we were talking about that Paleo Hebrew language? Something made me think that it had something to do with enunciating from your innermost, like,
I was just telling you about Dave.
Sounds. It was sounds that you can emit without talking.
I was saying that it's like, I've gone, sorry.
You might want to watch a video I did called The Language of Creation.
Okay.
That's the one.
All right. The
That
next
is the
time you're
one.
on
That's
here,
the one I would watch.
Can you say your website again? I got my
Oh.
browser open right now.
Yeah, my website is allegedlydave.com. But look on YouTube for the language of creation, and you'll
Okay.
get a wider understanding.
Yeah, D Murphy 25, language of creation. That video slaps.
You are our first guest. Like, do you understand that to have something that we put together in a matter of, man, I can't even tell you how this creation story got together, but to have you as our first guest, man,
So
you understand that means, man, you're a rock star to us. You understand? You're like Elvis Presley to us.
For real, man.
Okay.
Oh man.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay, brother. We're going to follow you. We're going to make sure we put you. Oh, and it's okay for you, us to share your content on our page. Is that okay?
Sure.
Fantastic. We're gonna send our people your way, and we want to learn about this community. And you let us know when you're free again to talk to us, because we have a London correspondence. We have a very big budget. So we have a correspondent over there in London that can sit there down in person with you and go, you can just walk this through, because what you're doing, we need to know how to do it. So just, that us seeing it being done once is all it needs to be done. If we see it done once, the rest of the world will get it. So we would love to be a part of that if you will allow us. Can you dig it?
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, we're gonna thank you. And is anything else that you want to?
I can dig it. Yes, I can dig it.
Y'all heard it. Listen, he said it. Y'all heard it. Oh, and that's a frequency. That is a frequency. That is a powerful frequency. Can you dig it? Is a powerful frequency. So you got to start spreading it. So you got to spread it. I promise you. It's not just an egotistical, crazy guy from Baltimore who wears an S on his chest because he likes.
Let's go with the P bag.
It's a frequency to it. So we thank you so much for your presence.
I'll use the English frequency. Yes, indubitably, I can dig it.
Dig it. Hey, Leslie, we'll get there. We'll get there, brother. We'll get there. We want to thank you for your time. And we know that this interview right here is history. We're making history as we are on this experiment. And we thank you for allowing us to be a part of your story. Can you dig it?
Thank you for allowing me to come onto your platform. And yes, I'll be happy to come along again sometime.
Yes. We're going to keep this thing going. And I got to say, Adriano, Chico, king for the day, Chico. You brought an amazing guest. And you brought an amazing character. King for the day, Chico.
Dave is the king. I have to give it to the crown to Dave. God bless.
Okay. Right. Cheers. I'll catch up with you guys later.
Later, brother.
Perfect.
Big love.
Take care, brother.
Bye-bye.
All right.
It's always a treat when players meet.
Can you dig it? I can dig it.
All right.
All right. Take care, guys.
Peace.
Big love. Amazing. Jeez. Oh my days. That was madness.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That was actually a madness. Man. Yeah, bro. Dave Murphy.
No, that was some powerful information, man. Got me on a whole different train of thought process right now. I'm like, sheesh.
I know, I'm thinking like with the whole Tartaria mudflood stuff.
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
Even the whole I hadn't thought about just the frozen lake, the frozen lake concept and the sun basically just rotating around.
Oh, I didn't get my last question. I was going to ask him, does he think the North Star moves with it?
Yes, yeah. And I wanted to ask him too about the whole concept of the two suns. I've been picking up this whole kind of two sun energy lately. I've been hearing about it a lot. And have you heard about that?
Yeah. To me, it always made sense.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, So, yeah, no, that was super crazy.
That's amazing. That's actually amazing. But bro, yeah, man, I've been listening to your music like every day, bro.
Yes. Blessings, man. Big blessings.
So good, just amazing.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, man, my biggest thing is, I have been probably slaved away in a room for years, just mastering the craft, just getting the fundamentals down to a point to where, my process is so efficient when it comes to making a beat or, mixing vocals. I'm so efficient with it that it's second nature to me. So yeah, it's super awesome. But I was actually looking. I wanted to actually talk to Lil Da Vinci because I was listening to some of his music too.
Yeah,
So yeah, yeah,
yeah. I
yeah.
was hoping he'd stay on, and then we could all
Yeah,
three
that's what I was gonna see
chat.
if we were just gonna stay on after, and everybody was just gonna keep talking a little bit. But
So I
yeah,
shout him. I'll give him a little message on WhatsApp and be like,
yeah, yeah. Maybe they still wanna hop on a little bit.
but yeah, I'm excited about some collaborations. I've got some like for that that instrumentals, the one with the seven.
Yeah. 7,500. Yep, yep, yep.
I want to write. I think I got to write fresh bars for it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can just that one slaps so hard, man. It's actually madness. How did you produce that? I was thinking this like an old school beat.
Yeah, so part of my process is kind of like I usually mix samples and then I'll play certain parts that kind of are in harmony with the sample that I choose, and then I'll kind of drop the sample out. And so I kind of retain the feel of that sample, like the old kind of groove,
Yeah.
but then it's this new thing because obviously I'm playing out different parts, different melodies, and so it kind of just comes together as this like collage, and it just really comes from me. Just like I typically start with like a feeling, whether it be like an old '70s song or an '80s, hip hop like gritty type. Then I'll like basically kind of channel that energy and kind of get like a good song or representation of, and I'll just kind of like loop that into my head, kind of get the frequency, soak that in, and then by the time I go into the program, because I use a FL Studio, so by the time I hop into FL Studio, I've pretty much just laying down melodies, lay drums, and then that's it.
The drums are nice, man. The drums
Yeah,
are
yeah,
nice.
yeah. I'm huge on the drums. Like I gotta have the drums that knock, that you just feel it, you feel it. It's like, oh yeah,
There's so
done
many
something to
layers,
you.
mate. Oh, bro, yeah, we're jumping on that one for sure if you're down.
Yeah, no, I'm down. I'm down. I'm totally down.
I was thinking what I might do is like I'll record like a verse and then like leave a whole gap
Yeah.
and then record another verse and then just send you that. So it's
Yeah, no,
like,
you can totally do that. And I'll hop in, punch in anywhere. Like I don't have any issues hopping in wherever. So yeah.
all right, I need to start writing the track, mate. I need to start
Hell
getting
yeah.
let me get that going, brother. God bless. Yeah, this is big. This is big. I'm feeling the energy.
Yeah, man. No, we're killing it right now. This is awesome.
I'm excited. I need to get over there. I need to get over with you guys.
Yeah, man. I need to definitely make it over there. That's kind of the one place that I haven't been to is kind of England in that area. I've been to like Asia and Tokyo, Japan, Australia. I think that's
Amazing.
about the furthest I've gotten.
Well, if
Yeah,
you
but
want a place in London, you've got a place
yeah,
down.
man, for sure. Same thing here.
God bless, mate. I need to, mate. I'm feeling I need to get out there. I feel like I need to.
Yeah.
No, the calling is starting getting louder.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I feel like it, and it's so crazy because for the longest time I've had just like I'll have just random visions of things like just phrases and things like this, and I never know what they mean until like a later point in time where it's like, oh, this is that moment where, you know what I mean? And I start to piece things together, and it's so crazy because like this whole process of events has been like me piecing together like, oh, this is it. It's happening now. You know what I mean? It's happening in this reality in this time. And I think it just goes back to like tapping into that inner gnosis of like past lives and the familiar energies and working with the same energies in past lives where it's like we're here now. And like I don't know if you've seen the movie Tenet.
No, I don't see
So
it.
you definitely check out the movie Tenet. I actually did a decode on my YouTube about it. But basically it's kind of the whole premise of the movie is centered around reversing the entropy of an object. So for instance, like shooting a bullet, but it's like the bullet is fired first and comes back into the gun. because it's like its whole process is reversed. And so there's a reality that works in this same way where everything is reversed. So it's kind of like the action happens before the thought almost, you know, because it's like by the time you think to fire the gun is almost already fired in a sense. So it's kind of confusing, but when you watch the movie, it makes perfect sense. And the whole kind of premise of it is like they do what's called like a temporal pincer movement, and it's basically a military formation where you send one squadron in at an advanced time, and then another backup squadron comes in at a later time. So let's say we send this first group of soldiers in at 1 o'clock, and then we send the second group in at 1:30, right? Well, the group that went in at 1 o'clock, they're going to have basically a 30-minute advantage of intelligence that they can relay to the group that's coming in at 1 o'clock. So essentially, by them meeting in the middle, they're able to most effectively neutralize the threat because they're hitting it from both sides, kind of like a future and a past. So it's like we're combating the past while also fighting the future at the same time. So it's like it becomes, it becomes like a synchronization of, okay, if you're team red and I'm team blue and you're in the future and I'm in the past, at that point where we converge, that's going to be the kind of the equilibrium point, if in a sense, where it kind of everything neutralizes. There's no longer a threat because we kind of worked through the threats in the past, and we've worked through the threats in the future. So then we're kind of converging on this singular point.
Feel that, bro. I mean, I'm tuning into it like a way of just, we're kind of in this battle in ourselves, like, and really we just we got to be in the middle and present. Don't be in the future, don't be in the past, but you know, stay in the center point. But I'm also seeing, you know, this whole idea of like more just like we're in our own universes as two individuals, and when we're having a conversation, it's like two different times, two different spaces, converging, creating this space where universal
like that's what's so interesting, because it's like we're creating that bridge. But if you think about it, like even from a literal standpoint, we're in two different time zones, you know. And so if you think about that, it's like from even just a literal standpoint, not even a spiritual standpoint, but we're in two different time zones. And it's the same way if you and I were driving both down to Miami and you left an hour before me, and you found out that there was an accident and, you know, it's going to be 8 hours of traffic, and you call me and you're like, yo, bro, don't come this way. You know what I mean? Go a different way. Obviously, that's going to save me a shit ton of time, and that's going to be highly beneficial because now I can avoid that traffic and, you know, get to where we need to go. And maybe now I can check in at the hotel. And now when you get there, now everything's set up and waiting, you know. But that's kind of that multi-layered communication where it's like, even if you're in the past or I'm in the future or vice versa, when there's that convergence and that singular point where we're creating this like bridge right now, and it's like we're sharing this information and we're filling in the gaps, it ultimately only helps us, right? Because the information, even when we take in from other people, we take it in and we internalize it and we figure out, well, how can I apply this to my model of belief so that it makes sense or that it fits. You know, it's like where can I put this thing, where can I put this new thought, this new concept, you know? And it's like sometimes if you imagine like your thoughts like just a shelf of like trophies, it's like sometimes you have to take one trophy down to put up another, you know. And I think that becomes like the most difficult part is like, which prized possessions do we hold on to? You know, what do we value? You know, what do we determine to be like reward chasing? You know, what
for that we have to follow our feelings, because
exactly. And I think, you know, this was something I learned kind of the hard way, because my whole life,
definitely,
I thought you know, my whole life my one goal was make six figures. That's it. You've won life. Game over, right? And I actually ended up doing that before I turned 25. I made six figures. I was making six figures a year, and I had probably the easiest job known to man. But I was dead inside. Spiritually, there was very little because the work I was doing was so meaningless and it was so detached from my true self that it just felt like I was just this empty carcass that was just going through the motions, you know. And it's like, cool, I've got access to anything I want, you know. I've got access to, I can buy whatever, you know, I can have whatever experience. But at that same time, because I wasn't living my truth, it none of it mattered. And it was like, it was madness to me when it was just like, am I really about to leave this job for, again, more uncertainty? But there was just an inner knowing of, okay, you know, this is you selling yourself short. You know what I mean? Like you're worth so much more than this. And it's just, again, a matter of perception and value and our perceived value, you know. It's hard to gauge our value in a world that is very quick to devalue you in so many ways, you know, whether you're a man, whether you're a, you know, have a certain intelligence range or a certain level of this, that, you know, economic status. There's so many ways to devalue people, you know. So I think it becomes more about numbers and statistics more so than actual multi-dimension beings, you know, understanding that people are multifaceted, you know. So it's like you may be seeing one side of a person, but they still have an undisclosed amount of sides, you know. So it's just like it's very, very interesting to me, especially when you think of essentially everybody is just like kids, just children in bodies that look like adults, you know.
That's a deep one, because
Yeah,
we all have that inner child.
yeah.
No doubt about that. Like, you know, the inner child work is one that, like, I'm actually like, you know, I'm fully like part of like a circle where we talk about like the inner child quite often.
Yeah. No, and you know, I think that's what music for me is what kind of healed my inner child, because that was my way to play, you know. And I think so many people get caught up in the fact of growing up and becoming an adult. And I love the word adult because I've actually got a short film that I've been writing based off that concept. And if you think about the word adult, it sounds like, if you say it slow, it sounds like a dull light, adult, a dull light. So it's like, it's saying a dull light. So it's like, and if you think about children and how radiant they are from a light
No light.
perspective, as you grow up, it's like you become dull. You know, you become a dull light. And so you're still a light, but it's so much more dim. And that's because, you know, all those places that you've been giving your light to, well, again, now you have none for yourself, you know. And it's something that, you know, I realized through the music and through playing, like that's what we need in the world, is people need to play because everybody's so serious. And that's when I realized, I was like, holy shit, I'm becoming the Joker, like the Joker archetype, the fool. You know, it's like that whole concept of like just cutting loose, not having any, you know, major predispositions to the adventure, but just going at it with a fresh face, open mind, and just bracing yourself for what's to come, you know. But I think that's the biggest thing, man. I think everybody just, and I think it's especially evident when people take themselves serious. You know, it's like, I don't take myself serious, and I don't think anybody should take themselves serious, because if you do, it's like you're too caught into the character. You know, you're too attached to the character at that point, because it's like everything I could be saying could be completely wrong. You know, and it's just like, who's to say that, you know, again, just because I've accumulated these random assortment of facts, that this means I hold any intrinsic value more so than the next person, or, you know. So it's just like, when I think of myself as like nothing and everything, it makes perfect sense, you know, because it's just like, okay, I can be everything, but in that same aspect, I have to accept the other side of that duality, which is nothing, you know. And I think I've existed in the nothing for the larger part of my life, and I think this is the shift where I'm starting to integrate the everything.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Bro, I'm gonna have to leave it now, mate. I'm gonna
yeah, brother, yeah, get that good.
But bro, God bless you, man. Nice to have this
Yeah.
catch up. I'm gonna slap this whole thing on. Do you know what I mean? We're gonna get this going.
Yeah,
I'm almost ready with the last one. I was ready, but I got to add some last minute pieces.
yeah. Nah, that was a long one too.
Yeah,
So-
no, big energies. God bless you, brother.
Peace, brother. We'll talk.
Blessings, bro.
Later.
In a bit, man.